we are live now. So there we go.
Yeah, we are live.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us. Too bad you missed the first 10 minutes. We were conversating backstage. Sorry. But
that's right. Yep. we were in the green room.
We lost track of time. I was like, it's like, wait a minute, this stuff's too good. We gotta.
It tends to happen from time to time. It does happen. But if you haven't noticed by now, it is not just Jason and I. We do have a heavy metal menage a trois going on this evening. No homo or anything like that. Joining us once again from Ash's Reign, the one and only Vinny Carrion is back on the Metalheads Unite podcast. Welcome back, Vinny.
Hey guys.
It is.
I think it was what September of last year, I believe, when he was on. So it's been a minute. So
yeah, probably. I'm not sure if it was with Painted Thrash had come out or was it just the EP.
The EP. The Painted Thrash hadn't came out yet. We were just still talking about the EP because it was like right after I was at Blue Ridge and some of your bandmates were handing out the little cards and I was like, oh cool. Then I listened to the EP and I was like, oh, this is badass. So that's when I reached out and said, hey man, you guys want to come on the show? I mean, you're passing out stuff to get noticed, so maybe we can help a little bit. I mean, I don't know how much we did, but
there are the dates.
Yeah.
So it looks like September is when you were on, Vinny.
Yeah, I thought it was September. I just didn't remember when. Like the 24th, I think, or something.
Yeah,
September 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's hard for me to remember like exactly what was going on. As I've talked to people again, it's like, what were we doing the EP? Were we doing
yeah
to that? Now it's like keeping the album and the single has dropped for that. In the last, I guess it's only been like 3 weeks. So yeah. A lot going on in the Ash's Reign.
That's right.
Well, yeah, you'll have to. I mean, that's why we are here revisiting this whole thing. So we want to, definitely catch up on everything that's been going on. I mean, there's going to be something I want to ask you about specifically as it pertains to Twitch. Once we kind of get to that part, there's something I want to get the story behind. That is something that I saw on there. So I'm a little curious as to the story behind a certain mug. So I want to hear this. I want to hear the story behind that. So I saw that it met its unfortunate end, but I want to hear the story behind it anyway. So, so I know there's been a lot going on. I actually want to hear about Painted Thrash too, because that is a very, very interesting cover. I want to hear about that. I want to hear about the single, everything that's going on. And like we were talking about before we went on there, you guys have a label home now.
Yeah.
Affiant Records.
Yeah, things are just kind of, through work. I mean, Ryan and I are very deliberate. So Ryan, the bass player in the band, also does a lot of the arrangement work. I write the songs and, lyrics I write the music. But we've learned through the years that as I write, it's best for me to kind of plot everything out. I use a Superior drummer, so I do all fake drums and guitars, and I track everything, and I get the demos over to Ryan, and Ryan will listen to it, and he'll come back and he'll rearrange parts. I'm a big fan of Dream Theater, Yes, Rush, Toto, all these bands that have like 25-minute long songs. And that's, dude, that's kind of what I write. I'm very verbose. You can even hear in the way I talk. I love to talk. I love to just go off on tangents. That comes through in the way that I write music as well. So I think it's after Ryan gets a hold of things and kind of does some rearranging, it becomes a lot more palatable, I think, for people to be able to latch onto it. So that's kind of the way we work these days. But yeah, I think, just talking about Ryan and what he's always working on, what I'm working on, that's where all this really stems from, is just the constant him and back and forth, him and me thing. And the label stuff came about because we just go out to, conventions, shows, everything. I mean, we'll go to local shows, or Ryan, really, this is his forte. He'll go out with our business cards like you guys came across. Mm-hmm. He'll do that. He'll find a show and he'll go out and he's like, hey, I got these business cards. I'm going to go out there and make sure people know who we are. I hate that. I hate saying, hey, check us out, or hey, do you want to hear some? If you don't want to hear it, I don't want to pressure you or even like ask you to do it, right? I'm not that guy. I was like, I love it once you're into it. I will talk to you about anything. I'll share all the knowledge, but I'm not very good at like talking, cold calling, I guess is really what it is. So he's really great at it, and he does it in a way that doesn't come across as being a dick, where I feel, if it's me, I'd be like, fucking listen to my band, listen to that. It's just, he's really good on that. So that's how this all came about. So we went to Blue Ridge. We did that. We went to other conventions. We went to Launch Festival in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which Killswitch Engage was headlining that. And at Launch, there was a whole bunch of music industry people. It's a big convention where they bring in record label heads, they bring in engineers, producers, bands, everything's there. And funny enough, I mean, I don't think there's really anything else out there that I've come across that would be similar to this, really, because I thought it was a joke. I thought it was bullshit. I was like, I got like a hit up on Facebook about this thing called Launch Music Festival, and I'm like, it reads like just some really big industry insider, like come out and, you know, do all these things. And I'm like, this has got to be bullshit. It can't be real. And if it is, you know, these things are really geared towards pop music, you know, rap, popular music, not genres like metal. That's how I felt. And then as they're talking to us and I'm going back and forth with them, I see Killswitch Engage is headlining it. I'm like, what? So I go look for it on Killswitch's tour like dates, and it wasn't there. I was like, wait a minute, this is really strange. Is Killswitch actually playing the show? It's not really part of their actual like tour dates that were public. So it was really strange. Ended up being Currents was there as well. They opened the show for Killswitch. And it was real. And we went out there and we did promo boxes and we just and we met some labels. We put Mountains Echoes, which is off the EP. We put that in a blind listening contest. And I think that's what got people like sort of initially interested at this thing, because basically a lot of bands were there. They're all putting in their songs and they're talking, like I said, pop, country, R&B, anything that's out there. And there's like people from Century Media and stuff like that who are on the panel and they're listening to the songs and they're like, basically like Simon Cowling people. They're like, oh, okay, this is what you need to do if you're in music in this day and age. You got to come in, you got to have vocals in within 10 seconds maximum. There has to be vocals. Your hook needs to come in within this long, and it has to be high energy. Attention spans. It's crazy. They're saying all these things, and I'm like looking at Ryan. I'm like, dude, we should not have even put our shit in this. And that goes, we go 45 seconds. There's no vocals. It's a long intro, little lead melody comes in. I mean, it's a whole lot going on. So that anyway, long story short, they play our song. The panel get listens to everything. And one of the main ladies, she's like a PR publicist for some magazine. She's like, and this is when all the rules that we've been talking about don't matter.
Nice.
They were like, this, it evolved. It's really interesting. It's catchy. It leaves you wanting more, all that stuff. And we were just like blown away. We're like, holy shit. They asked who we were. We stood up. Everyone's like, whoa, awesome. So yeah, I think from there, we kind of got a few people out there who were in like working with labels and stuff interested. From there, we were continuing to kind of hang out. There was one label in particular, the one that we ended up with, Affiant, and the guy who runs the label was there, and he was with his band the entire time. He was doing promo for his band. He was there when his band was playing, and he was like videoing it. He just seemed like he was a part of the band. And I said to Ryan, I was like, dude, there's other people that are talking like, we can give you this, money. They can give you this exposure, this. This guy's saying, I will give you me, my team, and I'll be there with you. And I saw him there with his band, and Ryan saw him. We're like, that's what we want more than anything. We just want someone who's in it with us, who cares about it as much as we do. And that's why we ended up with this label. And I would say, I mean, we didn't make the wrong choice, man. I mean, they've been pushing us very, very much. I mean, so Painted Thrash came out before we even got with them. That was just coming out. So we gave them a promo card that had like a SoundCloud private link on it, scan. So they got to hear that before it ever came out. And I mean, they were just like, okay, these fuckers they're doing this EP on their own. They did this on their own. Like, we just kind of clicked. So yeah, so I guess I'll stop there. So because that leads us up from the EP, gaining some traction there. We played a lot of shows. We did, as much as we could, and we just felt like, we're not getting as far as we'd like to know what to do. We were throwing shit everywhere. I'm sure you guys are in the same boat with what you do. It's like you try to, you try to do promo, you try to figure out who do I get this in front of, this content that I am putting my fucking heart and soul into. What do I need to do to get people to actually take a chance and check it out?
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing. So with a label, we felt like, man, if we get the right guys, that's their job. Honestly, that's their job. We don't have to worry about it. We write the music and we do what they tell us to. Like they ask us to get these radio spots done, or there's this interview coming up, or follow these people, influencers and stuff like. I mean, they get the connections for us, and we just mostly concentrate on being creative. So I'll stop there.
Well, that's kind of good. It sounds like it at least takes probably not all of the pressure off, but it probably takes a little bit of the pressure off, knowing that there's somebody out there at least pounding the pavement a little bit for you. Cause I know you guys were, cause I know like the first time we talked, I mean, obviously you guys were literally doing every single thing yourselves. So, I mean, even if it frees up an hour out of your day. So, I mean, instead of, we are, we're following, is it Affiant? Is that how you say it? I thought it was Affiant, but
I get it wrong sometimes too. I believe it's the actual way, I think, is Affiant. I mean, I think the guy who runs the label is a lawyer. So that's why Affiant comes from it, because it's a legal term.
I get it.
Like so an Affiant or an Affiant, I don't know. I get a little weird, but I do believe when we asked, it was Affiant is how we're.
Okay, well, then I like to say everyone's name right. So I mean, if it's Affiant, that's totally cool. So I mean, once the announcement was made, we're following you guys on Instagram and everything, all the socials and stuff like that. So when I saw that you guys had picked up the label, so we're following Affiant too. So I mean, every little bit helps. I mean, even for us already being followers of you guys on socials, adding in the ability to see what's going on with you, that with the stuff you guys post, and then adding in the promo stuff that Affiant brings too, just another layer of it. So, I mean, even though we already knew who you guys were and we were already following you anyway, it still helps and it's still beneficial. So
it seems like you guys got in with a record company that's kind of in the same situation where they're trying to, hit the ground and get their self built up too. And I think that's kind of like what we were doing too, is getting bands on here that wasn't known so we can kind of grow together.
Right.
So yeah, and I think that's kind of what it seems like with Affiant or whatever you want to say. It's like the record company, the label there is kind of doing the same thing, because when I looked at it, there wasn't a lot of known bands on the label.
Right.
So it's kind of like they're trying to like, hey, these are the next big bands, you should check them out, and which is I think is great, because without someone taking that chance, then I mean, you guys are still waiting on some nuclear blast or somebody to take notice. So and then and a lot of times that takes a long time. So.
So that is the big difference between a major label as opposed to an independent label. So Affiant is an independent record label out of Dallas, Texas, and that's another thing about this guy. He's from Dallas, Texas, yet I'm talking about where I met him was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay. So he's out there.
He was there with his band. So all these things, to me, I mean, I look at people and say, everyone will tell you, people can talk and they can say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. This guy didn't have to say that. He's doing it. I'm seeing him do it. I can expect him to, to have the same attitude with any band he decides to bring under his umbrella. And he does. I mean, I think they work him and the rest of his team, they work extremely hard. I mean, every day we're getting like tons of like just emails about, hey, we need you guys to do this. We need you to do this. And we take care of what they tell us to. So it's not like things have gotten easier per se. It's just different. It's different work. As opposed to us doing it all. Now we're being told what to do. So it's more defined. We know what we're shooting for because they're leveraging their experience and their network. And, they're a spotlight band at the time. I think Audience of Rain is the name of that band. They're like, since we've been looking at them, and I guess it's been easily 8 months, 9 months. I mean, these guys are 20, 30,000 listeners a month consistently.
Nice.
So they've learned through working like with these other bands, like who do we talk to? What media outlets do we tap? Who should we get to playlist people? We don't know that, and honestly, I don't want to care. I love people who take the time, who have those outlets, who do that. That's their focus. I love you for doing it, but I don't want to spend hours a day searching and looking and trying to figure out how to contact these people. And some of them are pay. You got to pay to get posted and stuff. And I'm like, who do you pay? Should you pay at all? It's just so much stuff that just kind of gets you completely out of making music, man. Now, to me, this has been the right move for us, simply because it's opened the doors in a lot of ways. We've gotten more reach. We can travel more now. Like, we're going to tour now. That's something we had to be used to in the label deal. If we're not able to tour, them as a label, like, we really can't help you, because to grow a band properly, still the number one method to do that is to get in front of people, and not the same crowd every week. Playing your local scene every week or every other week is awesome. But if you're not willing to get some, miles on the road and get out there into new audiences and break into those places, that's what you have to do. It's just, you have to do it. That's all there is to it. You can't look at any pro band and say, oh yeah, they never tour. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now.
Now, does you were talking about, being with the label now, and they're like, okay, we need this spot done by X and we need this thing done by Y. Compared to the process you told us about when we first, during our first chat, talking about everything you did from then to now, how does having somebody else put a timeline on your process, does it make it easier for you? Or I mean, how radical of a change was it? And, has it made things easier for you guys?
So yes and no. It's not as simple as it's not a simple answer, really, because there are very much like drop dead dates. Like, deliverables have to be done by this date, and we have a whole chart of this day we need this by, and this day we need this by. I would say that makes it easier, having it's like a project manager for your band. The label is constantly setting up the dominoes, and we're expected to knock them over on time, right? If we miss one of these things, one of these deliverables, well, then it's like taking a domino out, and you miss the opportunity to have the continuation of those things falling. Yep. So to me, it helps a lot, because I'm on the hook. I have someone who I am indebted to legally at this point, because we have signed this contract. I have to perform the said function that I have said I was going to, and I have to do it in a timely manner. So for me, it's work now. And it always has been work. Don't get me wrong. For any bands out there who aren't signed and whatnot, it is definitely work before you get signed. But there's something kind of cool about being able to say to your family now, at this level, I'm taking time to actually work. This is a real business deal now. I've signed the paper. We all agreed. Everything's right. This is for real. This is work that needs to get done. And now it gets treated the same as any other job. And when you clock into your job, you are expected to be working. So I've been able to get more of a routine now. I have actual time that is dedicated to the band that I don't feel bad about, because it's no longer just a hobby, and it never was just a hobby, but that's how everyone saw it, right? So I like that part of it.
Did it kind of, I mean, you guys have been doing this for a while anyway, but when you finally signed the deal, did it really be like, okay, this is kind of like no fucking around anymore now? Not that you did before, not trying to make that implication, but it was like, okay, now we really have to be like well, you said, we got to be on our P's and Q's now. So
yeah, I think it's more like, okay, now I got to make some serious sacrifices. I think that's what you mean to say, not like fucking around. Right. kind of like, oh, now I got to make some. So now the family vacations get cut. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do what you got to do to fulfill that contract, because you don't want to have to, being breach of that for sure. So
I mean, yeah, I mean, at that point, there's legal consequences. I mean, the label has taken a chance, and they expect us to do what we said we're going to. If we don't, well, they have put a lot of time, energy, and money into doing the parts that they're doing, like all of the adding or whatever what's going on, all the promotion for the single that just dropped. I have no idea what's been done with it. I haven't done any of my own, which is completely different. Usually I'd be the one who's sitting there trying to figure out where to. I love that. I love that we can write music, get it done. Now it is done in a different manner. Like I work with a production team that Affiant brought to the table, because where we were going was, local before. It was good, but it's not what was required for the next level. And it is more money. It just is. You're never, I wouldn't say you're ever going to get rich doing this, especially right away. You have to be willing to say it's an investment in yourself,
right.
and in what you believe in. And if you have a label, they're there to support you, and they do, but it's not their job to like make your dreams come true and you just sit back and enjoy it because you're some great thing that they needed. That we need each other.
I was about to say it's a symbiotic relationship. Yeah,
exactly. And I think there are definitely people I've know and I've worked with who have had this idea, like playing in venues, right? Like I'm very big on like, oh, we should play shows if the show makes sense. And if the show makes sense is if we just don't go completely broke doing it, right? I mean, I like to get paid to play, every show, but not like, I just want to cover gas money, man, and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't want to go broke doing the job. But there are people I've played with and who've been in this band who are like, well, they make demands. It's like, well, the venue needs us. No, they don't. The venue does not need us to play there. They can find 100 other bands that will play there, right? We need them to have us play there. They need us to play there and bring people, but we need to be doing our job to bring people in on our side. I also believe the venues, that's their job too. I mean, a venue should have their own following that brings people in the door, right? In its own vibe, as you say, symbiotic, right? And that's really what all this is to me. It's like, it's teamwork, and we're really lucky. I think that we have landed in the spot where we are with a label who is 100%. These guys, I mean, they're like honorary band members, man. They listen to all the mixes. They have caught stuff in mixes that we didn't catch. I've had to retrack guitar solos that I've never had to be called out on before because there was a bad note in a solo, which I didn't catch. I mean, I'm working faster these days. I have to get things done. So I feel like sometimes when you work faster and you do have deadlines, sometimes quality starts to slip a bit, but they don't allow it because they listen. They're like, nope, not good enough. I need you to redo it. I like that. I like having objective people outside of the band itself saying, this is awesome, but this is
for sure.
Yeah. And it's not like one of those things like, hey, listen to this right here. And then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Snap. Yep, I did that.
Well, I mean, the good thing is when they're doing stuff like that, they're doing it in everyone's best interest, yours, theirs, and the fans ultimately. So they're not doing it out of any animosity or spite or anything, because why the hell would they do that? So, but it's also good that the team you have now, like you said, the dude's in a band. So, I mean, he's not experiencing anything that you're not experiencing firsthand. So it's not like, okay, it's not like he's one of those guys, suit and tie, who is like in a boardroom and someone's like, hey, we think we should try to sign these guys. And he's like, go ahead, standard deal or whatever. And then, they write up the contract and you never fucking see this guy again, Right. So, and he's just like, are they making us any money? No, cut them. Fine. Next band. So, I mean, you got someone who's lived it, can sympathize, empathize, everything. Yep. So,
and that goes back to kind of like what you're talking about right now. Chris reminded me of Rick Jimenez from Extinction AD being on the show, and we were talking about all these albums that because we found this new site where we could get more albums to review.
Right.
than just Loudwire, because
Mhm.
Loudwire would put out 25, 30 or whatever. This place has like 50 and 60 bands.
20,
that-
20,
yeah,
25,
yeah,
30. You were being nice.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And it's like bands from over in Europe and stuff that you probably wouldn't get with Loudwire. So it's cool that we've got, and actually the majority of our interviews this year have been over in that area. So
Scandinavia, we've been living there.
We've been living there for a while. But it's cool because, like I said, it's new bands and stuff. But I remember him saying, he's like, yeah, but listen, go back in a year from now and see how many of those bands are still together. He said that's the thing, because a lot of those bands aren't going to make it because they're putting all their money in this one basket in this one album, and they're like, hey, we're going to shoot this one album and we're going to be gold, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then they're back to the drawing board and trying to start over, and it may be on hiatus for 5 or 6 years before they're able to get enough money to do another album, or he said they just won't be there for some reason or another. And he said, I'm not knocking the band. He said they're probably great. He said, but they've done everything themselves trying to get to that point, and they don't have anything to back it or help them.
Right.
So
yeah, because
so many things. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because I mean that website that you're talking about, every single album that's listed every week does have the label that they're on, and a lot of them just say self. A lot of these bands are just releasing albums on their own, and I mean, I like that. It's good that they're getting out there, and I do try to pay attention to those as often as I can, because that's what we're trying to do with this shows. I mean, we're trying to help the up and comers, the upstarts, the self-made bands, whatever you want to call them. That's kind of the bread and butter we decided to pattern, the format of the show after. So helping those bands out the best we can, that's just kind of our contribution to the scene.
Speaking of that, we were talking to a band a while back, and we brought up the interesting fact, since we're talking about this, when we interviewed you last time, you were talking about how your partner there put everything into a QR code, so you knew where everything was being sold. And they were just like, oh, dude, we never thought about it. That's a great idea. So if nothing else, you're giving other bands great ideas to try to figure out where to play and stuff like that. So
that's something that we're pretty adamant about, is not hoarding that knowledge, or I want to see all these other bands do awesome too. There's enough listeners in the world for every fucking band to have a podcast. Now, I honestly I say this, and I mean this with my whole heart, man. I know at least 5 bands right now. I'm not going to name them right now, but I know them, and I would say they are better bands than this band that I'm in right now. I mean, honestly, when I listen to them, it's like I aspire to be like these bands, but they are not doing any of the other things. They are writing really good music, I think, and they're getting it recorded, and that's it. They're putting it out, and they're expecting people to find it somehow, because there is this attitude sometimes, and it's unfortunate, but it's like, we know this is good. We shouldn't have to do anything else. People should come to it because it's just good. It's just good. And I agree. Your shit's good. I like a lot of the shit I hear, but I have to really come out on a limb to find it. I have to search. I have to spend real time and energy to find it.
Yeah.
People don't have that luxury a lot of times. I mean, I went to this one place, and one of the guys who was on the panel, he said it really well. And I think it was the drummer from, We Came as Romans. So one of these places that we went to, he was on the panel. He owns another, like a PR company. And he said it very, very well. He said, people only have 3 real needs. They need to have food, right? They need to have shelter, and they need to, what was the third? Something like, it was just your necessities of life: food, water, shelter, right? Entertainment is not something people need, right? Entertainment comes when people have the like flexibility to be able to go out and spend their time ingesting stuff for enjoyment.
Right.
It's not a requirement. So this idea that you as a band deserve people to give their time to you because you've worked so hard and you've made such great music really doesn't work. I mean, it really doesn't. When you really think about it, it's like, yeah, I'm busting my ass to do this and I put my heart and soul into it, but that doesn't earn me the right to your ears or your time. I have to do something more than that. I have to show you that it's worth taking your time to give it a chance. I gotta be out there, man. I mean,
yeah,
to do that, it's like I said, the music is the bare minimum, dude. Like playing your instrument in a band is the bare minimum. If you think that, oh, I'm a great drummer, I'm just gonna kick the shit out of this drum kit, and that's all I have to do, that is the easiest thing to replace.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. If you give me a guy though, like Ryan, my bassist, who is a fucking sick bass player, number one, that's the bare minimum. He's sick, but then he does all of our web design. He does all of our art direction stuff. He handles so many things on the side, and I handle writing music and doing interviews because I'm a little more extroverted than him. I do a lot more talking. We know what we're good at, and we split it up. We are a company at the end of the day. We're a media company,
Mm-hmm.
and we have our jobs to do, and we are lucky that we have us doing them. But we need, and other bands need to have the same sort of thing. We talk about diversifying and how do we get income to continue to do what we're doing. Well, it's not by having people stream our music. It's awesome. People look at that data, but we don't make any money off of Spotify.
Yeah, no.
That's all people care about. So
you gotta get Wu-Tang to diversify.
Yeah.
We talk about diversify. Chris, you said something about Twitch earlier. That's exactly why we went that route. And that happened because we ended up at a show. So the label set us up with a show. The very first show we got was at Scranton, Pennsylvania at a bar called the V-Spot. Awesome fucking place, by the way. V-Spot, super cool. Really good bands coming through there all the time. We get the show there it was the Electric City Music Conference is what that one was. So a lot of industry ties. Once again, the label had ties to there. So they went out on a limb and said, hey, we'd love you to take our band, Ashes Rain, and put them in this show. And they said, we're going to do you solid because they have that relationship. That's something I couldn't have gotten done on.
Right.
So we end up there, and our, drummer decides he can't come out to the show anymore. We're there 2 days ahead because we're there for the whole conference. So we're there 2 days ahead. Ryan and myself staying in our trailer. We have a travel trailer we carry behind my truck, 40-foot trailer. We are able to stay, sleep in, and practice in. So
there you go.
Instead of canceling the show, we went back to the trailer and we wrote the drum parts in Superior Drummer and DAW, and we programmed all the drums and we played the show anyway with just Ryan and myself with the drums coming through the PA.
Damn it.
It went really well. People really, really responded great to that. And at that point, I said to Ryan, I was like, dude, we just played the show with our in-ears on, our click track in our ears. The people couldn't hear that. All you heard out there was what you're supposed to. You heard drums, guitars, and vocals and bass.
Yeah.
I said, dude, we just did a stream. We have thing right there to stream music now live. So why don't we do it? So we came home and right away we patched everything into Twitch and we played this show that we played in Scranton on Twitch.
Yeah.
And I mean, after we started doing that 3 weeks in, we were affiliated already. And now we have people subscribing and hanging out with us. And now I'll be real honest. If any bands watch it, if you are not taking advantage of other outlets such as Twitch, we make so much more money on Twitch than
I know Matt Heafy fucking swears by Twitch.
Yes.
I love him. I'm not a huge Trivium fan. People say we sound like Trivium, but
oh my God, that's crazy. We'll get there in a minute, but that is
crazy. I've never listened to them, and then I started getting into it because I saw Matt Heafy was so big in Twitch and stuff. So I started watching him, and I fucking love him as a musician, as a dude. I still don't know how much Trivium I dig. I have listened to more of it, but it's just not really. I don't know why. I mean, I know we have similarities, but I do really respect that guy, and I really took a lot of what he was doing. I was like, wow, if we model our channel after the best heavy musician on this platform, if we just model
he's gotta be. Yeah, he's gotta be.
Oh yeah. I was like, Brian, if we just kind of model it after him, even if we're like 25% or even 10% as like display as well as this guy or
Yeah.
then we're still like similar enough that people will come across our channel and be like, oh yeah, I feel the same type of feel here. And I was like, let's do it. And man, I'm be honest, dude, it's been really fun. Twitch has probably become, playing like that is so much better than just rehearsing with the guys. They show up, they drop their shit, they play, and then they leave. I mean, we all have lives and we want to get back to them, but Twitch, you're performing. It is a cool show, man, and it's a sweet show because you get to stop and you get to talk and answer questions while you're doing it. You got people throwing bits and you got confetti popping on the screen. It's just really fun, man. It's a really fun time.
So now I got about 4 topics. So hold on just a second. So to go all the way back to the Scranton, you were in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Chris is actually wearing one of our favorite bands from that area shirt right now. Eyes of the Living, awesome thrash band from up there. If you get a chance, check those guys out. They're really. I mean, they're a band that kind of put their band. They were a band in the '80s, put it on hold for family. And then once their kids got old enough and stuff, they say, "Hey, let's do this again." And they're out there killing it right now, which is cool.
Yeah, they are.
It's crazy, but that's a good thing about music is you don't have an age limit with it. You know, it isn't like sports, where 35, 40 years old, you're done. And, it's like you can music and acting and that kind of entertainment you can do to the day you die. I mean, it's like, which is the cool thing about it. Second of all, I've watched your Twitch, so and if you miss. I watched the one where you got a hold of some alcohol. It didn't very well take well with you. I was just like, I gotta ask you about that when he gets on the show.
I didn't see that, but I heard about it.
Oh my god!
I heard about it.
I wish I could have snipped it and why it was going on and just saved it for this show because that was a crazy face, man. He was like, ooh. Who's that?
I've never really been a huge drinker. I've never really been. I feel like it hits me really quickly. So like a beer, and I'm like, I feel a beer. It's weird. I don't understand. So I would never drink before a show. Ever. Now, I've never played a live show in my life where I've drank before. I will drink after, but my job is to perform. If people are coming and they're paying and they're hanging with us, then my job is to be at the best I can be for you. Ryan, on the other hand, if he does not take a shot, he is so introverted. If he does not take a shot before he plays, we did it one time. We'll never do it again. He must have a shot before he plays. I mean, he's so groove oriented and like feel oriented. For him, it's actually debilitating to not have that little tiny buzz. It gets where he needs to be. I'm usually completely opposite. So we had the bar and it's like, hey, what's some fun things we can do while we're on here? Because we can't just play the music. I mean, it gets really old really fast hearing the same songs over and over, just rehearsal streams and stuff. It's like, if we're going to do this, let's try to have some fun with it. So he's like, well, yeah, let's do the bar. So we had the bar up and we're rolling for shots. And I had some fucking Knob Creek. It's still here. Oh my God, man. I mean, I went from totally fine to completely wasted instantly, and I don't even remember what was going on. It was bad. I remember playing Painted Thrash, and there's the lead at the end, and that's far in the set. That's like the song right before the last. So the lead at the very end of that is pretty difficult, even on when I'm sober, right? So I get to the last run of that song, which is really pretty complex. And I mean, I was so fucked that I just got there and I just raised my hands in the air and I was like, it's gonna sound better if I don't play this at all. It's not. So it's funny though, because as we've been practicing like this and rehearsing like that, I have found now I kind of like one shot now before playing too. It's weird. You get into that zone where it's almost like an out of body experience, man. When you're completely sober, and there's nothing wrong with being completely sober. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not advocating people to get completely wasted or drinking. If you don't drink, whatever. But for me now, I'm feeling like, one shot in actually loosens me up a bit to where I don't care as much about everything that's going on. And I actually find I do perform a little better when I'm out of my head a little bit more. So I might start doing that one shot trick too now.
And just so you know, it's a public service announcement. Ashes Rain does not condone drinking. That is for Tankard and Aylstorm only. So
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know shit. I love people to do whatever they want. And whatever you do does not hurt me or affect me in any way.
right.
Have fun with your life. But I don't like the idea of like being like, you to play a good show, you gotta drink one. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
what works for you.
And what's crazy is you guys are having the same concept on Twitch that kind of like Rob Flynn and them are doing on Facebook.
I don't
know if you've watched any of their Facebook Live, but Rob Flynn from Machine Head, they do
the electric happy hour.
Electric happy hour.
Yeah.
Oh,
They do it. Yeah, and they do that every once in a while when they're not touring, and that's what they do. They drink they drink beers and just jam out and have fun. You know, it's like, of course, you know, Rob Flynn is going to drink beer. That's who Rob Flynn is. But but he's a big peanut butter beer drinker. So I can't do it. I tried. I do not like that shit. I was like, I don't know how he drinks this shit.
The only beer I like is sour beer. I don't like any normal beer. So, but I do like liquor. You know, I like Disaronno. Like I'm drinking right now, eggnog and Disaronno is like one of my favorite things, especially this time of holiday season. But you guys, I was like, you know, I'm going to get on. I want to talk freely. I like to be in that space where I'm not checking everything I say before I say it to you or anybody. You know what I mean? Like it takes me out of being honest and authentic if I have to like go, oh, is this going to be something I shouldn't say? Or do I have to worry about what the label's going to think if I say? I don't want to fucking worry about it. And for me to not worry about it, I got to take me a little bit of drink.
You know what? I didn't even. You know the funny thing is, I didn't even think about that part until you said it, because I was going to tell you that we don't. I mean, there's nothing on this show that we've ever told anybody that they can't talk about. I mean, we keep it music centric, but I mean, there's a couple times where we've kind of, you know,
we've
gone into like
strays.
Yeah, we stray a little bit. We get into some, you know, personal stuff every now and then, you know, like hobbies and all that good shit. But I mean, we've never told anybody, hey, don't. You know, obviously we don't give a shit about swear words. Don't give a shit. You know, so that's not that big a deal. And hell, I used to ask guests if there was anything that we didn't want us to ask them about. Is there anything we don't want? Is there anything that you guys don't want to be asked about? No one ever told us no, but because like we keep it. You know, we keep it pretty well centered on the music, obviously, as we should. But
and honestly, it'd probably, if they did say something, it'd probably be something we would never. If they say, "Oh, we don't want to talk about this," and we're just like, "Okay, that probably wouldn't have brought it."
Yeah. So that's the thing is, I mean, and that's kind of like the way we want to keep it. I mean, we want to keep it kind of like it was before you know we came on live tonight. We were just we were just bullshitting, and then we were like, oh shit, we were like 10 minutes past. We should actually probably start. So I mean. We just,
if I could do this around my campfire with beers and I would do that in a heartbeat.
So yeah, so for me it's become like I'm just more aware now. Like I am on more things. I am out on Twitch. I'm in front of people in lots of different ways these days. And, I have a tendency to just say crazy shit, and I just think it's funny. I say things that I think are funny, and sometimes they just come across as maybe insensitive, and that is not me at all. If people know me at the core, I'm very, very like I'm all about people just being happy and individuals, and I just like I'm happy. I do what the fuck I want to do. No one's gonna tell me what to do. I'm gonna do whatever, and that's how I like to treat other people. But I am aware, like sometimes I will maybe talk about things. Like I had a stream a few weeks back, and Ryan takes me aside. He's like, "Hey man, you might want to chill on some of these things." And I'm like, "You're not wrong," because I'm not looking to be that like I'm not trying to be just shitting on things. It's not that. But when I go to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I see the scene there, and I see how involved people are there, and they're wearing shirts that say the scene's not dead, and there's a camera crew out for the show, and it's a packed bar for a band that nobody fucking knows. I go, why isn't it like that everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
What's special?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I ask, and I say, what's so special about this? And then I think of my area where we came up and through the local scene, and I'm thinking, wow, we didn't have that. We just don't have that in the heavy in the scene here. And Ryan's like, maybe you shouldn't, get into that so much. Well, for me, I feel a little different. I'm like, if I want it to be better, it's not going to get better by just like
hoping it gets better.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's cool. I mean, it's just going to be this, it's fine. It is what it is. Like, I mean, part of the reason that we're so adamant about getting into like this next level was opening the doors for travel to more places and touring and stuff like that, and having booking agents and stuff like that to help us out, because that stuff is hard to figure out on your own. Because I have seen other areas where, wow, the scenes are just vibrant and awesome. And I'm not, I would like to see my, Richmond, Virginia is where, the local scene is for me. And there's heavy.
Lamb of God.
Lamb of God. I mean, you've got a bunch out of there, man. I mean, we've got like one of the big bands came out of like the Richmond area too. One of those huge bands that's out right now. I can't remember their fucking name. They're super modern, high production. I'd have to look them up. It's kind of outside of what I listen to, but they're very, very, very big. But Scranton has like, who was out in Scranton? It was the band that just came through there. They're from there. Dude who's something white, Motionless in White. That's who it is.
Yeah. Motionless White, yeah.
So that's out there in Scranton too, right? So I mean, it's just like, for me, it's interesting. It's like, what is it about the area that makes it so much different? I think it's the people. I think it's the people who are running the scene. I think it's the people who have gotten in and done the hard work to make sure the scene is vibrant and that the venues do have a following. Because honestly, dude, I'd go to these places just to hang out because they're fucking cool. You take a that has a vibe like that, and you add bands on top of it that are really good, and you've got nothing but success. In my opinion. And I had not seen a bad band either. And that's something, like I kind of wonder. It's like, it's interesting because sometimes you go to a show and everyone's like, man, I wonder why no one's coming to these shows. But 90% of the bands just sound really bad. And let's just be honest with ourselves. This is what I'm saying, where I talk a little bit and I feel like maybe I shouldn't go there. But the truth is, sometimes you go to these things and it sounds fucking horrible. I don't even want to be there, and I'm a musician, and it sounds fucking horrible. So you can't expect like a listener, just a casual listener of music, to come to a venue where bands sound fucking really horrible and be like, I can't wait to support this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But then sometimes it's not the bands either. Sometimes it's the people out there with the sound guy.
It's that too, man. And then you have to work against that. Like, one of the best things we ever did was go all direct. Like, we don't have any microphones on stage other than the vocal mic and the drum mics. All the guitar, all the bass goes direct through a cable on the floor to the front of the house. And that cuts down all the bleed from all the other instruments. Usually you'd get the drums going into the vocal mics and all this feedback and shit. Going direct cleans that up. So in most places, you kind of give the sound guy the easiest thing he could possibly get. Just turn the fucking thing up, man. Make it sound okay. But you don't get all the extra noise on stage. That was something really big that we did that I think really helped us out. Just sound really good and tight. Like what you hear on Twitch and stuff is the exact sound. The exact sound you will hear at a live show, because it's coming through the board and directly out to the mixer. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that just, in my opinion, I mean, it goes a long way just to spend the time to get that all dialed in really well. But then you have the attitude of like, oh, well, music's supposed to be about just fucking getting up there and fucking off, and who cares? Like, have the shittiest gear and all that. Cool. That's great. But if you really want casual listeners to actually spend their time and money and to listen to you, I think you need to put a little more work into it. That's just me. And I know this is where if Ryan was here to be like, fucking stop talking so much.
Well, no, everyone's definitely, everyone's got opinions, but I mean, I didn't really hear anything in there that I disagreed with. Cause I mean, if people are going to watch you on Twitch and they watch you and they hear you, and then they find out that what they heard on their computer or on their phone or whatever they're using to watch it, if they find out that it translates to a live performance, I think that only helps. because there have been bands in the past where you listen to them and then you go to the show. There's like, what the fuck happened between there and here?
Right. Yeah.
And for me, and like I say, I'm just speaking for me personally. One of the bands that I have one of the bands that I have seen multiple times that surprisingly has never failed to disappoint in that aspect is Disturbed. David Draymond sounds exactly the way he does live that he does on an album. And I can appreciate that because, like I say, I've heard bands was like, hey, the LP sounds cool or the EP sounds cool. It's like, what the fuck happened to him on stage?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, granted, it doesn't have to be note for note, and so, but I mean, if you can get a reasonable facsimile on stage, as you know, you can on your phone and the CD on tapes or whatever it was when you first heard it, I think that only helps. And if you guys have found a way, especially to streamline the process for you and, like you said, and the sound guy, you know, make the process as clean as possible. I don't see any reason why there would be any cons to that.
Yeah, it's just I mean, metal, man. I mean, metal is a genre all about attitude, right? I love it. That's why I play it. I mean, I love a lot of different types of music. I love listening to a lot of different types of music, but there is only one type of music that I want to play, and that is metal. And the reason is it's because the attitude of it. Like, you know, the way you play the instrument, even it's aggressive. I mean, it's aggressive in nature, and I like that about the genre. So you do have a lot of aggressive individuals, obviously, that gravitate towards it, right? And some of these people are like, you know, it's awesome. They honestly, and I envy it in a way, but they're honest about God, don't give a fuck. They just don't care. I'm doing what the fuck I do. You can't tell me how to do it any better. And that's good. That's a cool attitude to have. It is. And it's part of that culture. And I think it does come through in music if you can rein it in, though, because there's a level where just not giving a fuck is cool. And then there's a level where it starts to become detrimental to all the people around you.
Yeah. Yeah, because fuck you, I won't do what you tell me eventually can throw up a brick wall in your path. And it's like, well, that's as far as you're going.
Exactly. And it happens a lot, man. I mean, we got in bed with, you know, the label. And I mean, the very first thing was like, guys, we want you to work with this other production team. We really dig them. So they ran our stuff. I mean, I liked it. They gave them stuff, you know, stuff that they had done, other bands. I was like, wow, it sounds great. But then they got their hands on us and they changed some things, right? I mean, if you listen to the stuff from Painted Thrash back, it was all pretty raw. I mean, it was nothing really too fancy going on. Ferryman, the first one, and going forward, it's gonna be even more because it's a process here, but it's a lot more production. And when I mean production, I mean like there is actual there's synth and programming and stuff. You'll hear like some of the stuff that's in this modern metal, like Spirit Box and stuff, has a lot of programming and stuff like that. At first I was like, I don't know, you know, do we want to go with this? And then we had to take a step back and we're like, let's listen to it as a listener, which is really hard to do when you're in the band, but let's just listen to it. As
right. Especially when it's your own shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take what they added out of it and compare it to like what it would be like without it. And when I did that, honestly, I was like, wow, I missed the things they added. So now we have a little more of that. And yes, to pull that off live, very forthcoming and honest here, we tuck it into a fucking backing track. We don't have a guy up there playing program parts on a synth, man. Or you know, right. we don't have an orchestra that's going to go tour with us.
Right.
So
yeah, you mentioned yes. I mean, you don't have that guy on the keyboard in the background.
Yeah. We tuck that on a track. There are some vocal harmonies that are tucked into vocal tracks as well, but my main vocal is 100% authentic, and you can hear it every time on Twitch when I fuck it up.
Yeah. Hey, I was so hopefully I get to jog your memory here a little bit because I did look up bands from Virginia. So it shows up with Municipal Waste, Lamb of God, Gore, Cannibal Corpse, Iron Reagan. I didn't know they were from there. That's awesome. I'm trying to just pick the bigger ones out of here. So Bad Omens,
Bad. It's Bad Omens. That's who it is.
It's Bad Omens. Okay.
Bad
So
Omens.
I figure I would try to help you trigger the story there. So.
They are huge. Like they are huge, right? I mean,
They are, yeah.
But I asked this question a lot. People like all the bands you just listened to, including Lamb of God, right? I mean, they were like Burn the Priest early on,
right?
Yeah.
I know they played some shows, but I can't find a history of them actually playing a lot of local shows. I think there's like you have to be somewhat. I try to be somewhat intelligent with my attack and how I want to do things. And I look at the past. I look at what bands have done. I try to see, okay, they're successful. How are they? Why are they? Stuff like that. When I go back and I look at bands who are breaking like Bad Omens and stuff, I'm like, well, how many shows did they have local? Were they a fucking huge local success before they blew up nationally? No, they weren't. Mm-mm. So what happened? Why is it? So they got the music in front of somebody. They liked the image, they liked the sound, and they took them and said, hey, we're going to move you guys this way. And they got them touring and they just continued to grow. It's not rocket science, but it is work. And there are people who are amazing musicians that are not able to do the things that it actually requires, like going on tour, right? I can do it. My bass player can do it. The guitar player on Painted Thrash, if you look in, our history, he's no longer pictured on anything because he was not able to commit to the label deal. So we were down a guitar player, and we're filling in guitar players and stuff now. At the core of the project, it's Ryan and myself who are like the two steady people. We're having to fill in musicians in order to do the job now, because sometimes, I don't know, it's a hard pill to swallow, but the best drummer, technically, the best technical drummer is not sometimes the best guy to take out on the road, or even capable of going. He's the guy who has to be at home for many other reasons, and he just can't do tours. And now, well, that's what we need. So what do we do, right? We have to find the right fit. So, I mean, I'm being very open. I mean, we're down a drummer too at this point. We got a whole album recorded with our drummer. And now we're actually, we've pretty much already filled it in. Because we've been doing
that's good
behind the scenes. Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's not as hard because we don't need anyone local. At this point, we can go nationally, search for drummers and say, hey, our whole set is to a backing track, click tracks. So you play it at home. It's the same as walking on stage. We hear in our ears, it goes all in. That's what we hear. Every song goes all in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you get 8 clicks and we all come in. And we play to the click that's in our ears. And that's how we have to play these days to keep things tight and to keep the stage show and lighting and everything synced to what we're doing, right? So it's different. You become more of a performer, a technical performer, as opposed to like hardcore, like trained musician, really. I mean, it's more about performing properly. And to perform, we have to play to click. We have to have light show that's tied to the click tracks. We have to have fog machine that's tied to the click tracks. So all these things are automated and happening because when you come to see us, you're not coming to listen to the fucking CD in your car or stream it. You're coming to see us play.
Yeah.
And we have to perform it to you, and we have to perform it in a way that you're going to want to, like, you're just going to flip the fuck out after you see it because there's all the things are happening. The lights are going, the fog is going. If we just stood up there and played it and didn't move and played it perfectly note for note, I don't think you'd walk away wanting to come back, if I'm being honest.
No.
Well, you have to create a vibe so the energy from you guys translates to the energy in the crowd and vice versa. It's another symbiotic relationship that has to be created within the span of 2.5 to 3 hours between a bunch of total strangers.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know. I just for a long time, all I cared about was playing the music. Like, it's technical. There's hard leads and there's hard stuff going on. I want to show that I can play it live. But I'll tell you the truth. I mean, no one's ever come up to me. I don't know. This isn't, I mean, they have. I mean, people are like, oh, you're great and all, and you're a great player. That's awesome. But that's not what I'm looking for anymore either. I want to hear your band is amazing. Right. Collectively. That's what I'm looking for. I love this song. as opposed to I love this guitar solo that you play in this song. It's different. It's a little different. And playing a show where we're on fire and everything is looking good on stage and we're feeling good on stage, even if I miss a few notes, it's more about how we're sending the energy outward rather than worrying so much about playing. I mean, I just don't think you're going to care if I miss a note here and there, but you're going to care if all I did was stand up there, look down, and like talking to Mike, hey, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's a lot of things.
Because see what that does. Is, well, it's an evolution for you as an individual, but then as you know, once because you said you found a drummer, so you know it's an evolution for you, it's an evolution for Ryan, it's an evolution for the band. But at the same time, what it does is getting up there and putting on a show, quote unquote, instead of, like you say, instead of just playing, you're putting on a show. What that also does is it also lends the possibility of you inadvertently creating a memory like the one that Jason and I always bring up from the Testament show that we went to.
Yeah.
And it's one thing that we always talk about because it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Because Chuck Billy has been doing this shit for 40 fucking years. And he was getting ready to sing Into the Pit and missed his mark completely and didn't even start singing the song when he was supposed to. So, you know, he's probably sang that song God knows how many times. But it just so happened Jason and I were in the crowd in Nashville one night where he was like, oh, fuck, that was my mark. And then they stopped. They stopped. You know, everyone, you know, he laughed, the guys on stage laughed, everybody in the crowd laughed, and then they were like, all right, let's start this shit over. 1, 2, 3. And then the song, and
the funny part was Chuck looked at them and says, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, so
he's like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So not being so stiff, you know, and then just getting up there and just look, this is it'll flow. We want it to flow as good as as it possibly can, of course. But like you said, if there's a couple little teeny tiny little things here and there, no one's going to notice. It'll still
But I think
it'll go off.
But I think as a fan, like me and you, we would look at the Metallicas and the Testaments and the Exoduses and all that, and you know, as a fan, we think, oh, they can't do any wrong, and then we hear that, and we're like, oh, well, I mean, they're human. So.
Yeah, fucking Kirk Hammett still fucks up all the time, and I see it online. People,
yeah,
and I'm like, who cares, man? The guy is a legend.
You play it then. It's like you play it then. How about that? It's like, shut the fuck up.
And another thing, I mean, I would go see Metallica if they did a tiny little tour date, like in tiny clubs. Yeah. I would definitely go see that. But there is a reason that this M72 tour is fucking enormous with this amazing production, because there is something about production value when it comes to entertainment, even though it's music. And when you become more than just a musician, you, like I said, you're a performer at that point. And then you have to find other guys who are good musicians. I mean, honestly, I don't think you need to be such an expert musician anymore. I would rather play with a solid person instrumentally who is a fucking killer performer. Any day of the week, I'd rather play with the better performer than play with the better, like, well-schooled individual, if I'm honest.
Well, I think the thing is you have to find a sound. Like, and honestly, I don't mean that in a bad way, because I love you guys, and you guys are very diverse with all the music that are from Mountain Echoes to Ferryman. I don't think any of that sounds the same. And I love that. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But when you listen to Lamb of God and they hit that first chord, you had never heard it before, you're like, that's Lamb of God. You already know. I mean, because they have a tone to their music. In Flames is kind of the same way. I hear an In Flames riff, I'm like, oh, that's In Flames. I mean, they don't even got to sing yet. I know. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think you need an identity too. You know, at some point, you're looking at bands that have been around too. So, I mean, you had to have an identity then, or you weren't going to probably go anywhere.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's kind of, you don't know what the fans are so diverse too. So you don't know what to do to try to attract them. I think that, to me, I think this era of metal is probably the hardest to try to play, because you have so many people and fans that are expecting, one thing, and then they hear the diversity of the band, they're like, oh wow, I don't know if I like this song, but I don't know about this one, or kind of like that thing where I'm very diverse. And I'll hear, like if you come out and you played something so heavy that it's not like Lamb of God, and then you broke back a little bit and played like a Breaking Benjamin type track, I wouldn't care, because that's just like, I'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool. They kind of switched it up. And we talk about that a lot with album reviews. I talked about one the other day where they stuck a ballad right in the middle. I mean, it wasn't really a ballad, but they slowed it down so much from what they were doing on the album. I'm like, oh wow, they just kind of just threw that in the middle like that, just to kind of change the pace a little, and then they went right back into the next track, kind of where they were before. And I thought that was cool because it kind of gave you I guess what I'm saying is, like, if I'm riding down the road and it kind of gets into a monotonous state where if you're just like, it's all kind of like, it's different, but it kind of has the same pace, I guess, then you kind of shut it out. You know what I mean? So you need that in some point. Yeah, because you need that in there. Go, oh, wait a minute. I'm awake now. What's up?
Yeah, I think there's a time and place for that too. That like when you just want that feel. Like I think music to me is feel. Like there are times where I'm riding down the road and I want to be like awake. If I was driving and like for me right now, it's like 12-14 in the morning, right? So I'm out after midnight. I want fucking aggressive double bass the whole way because I'm fucking bopping my head and it's keeping me awake, right?
Right, yeah.
You hit me with a ballad at that point, I want to fall asleep. And
Right.
It's a feel thing, but on an album for me, I'm a very album oriented guy. I mean, I know like when I talk to people now, and I say like, "What's your favorite album?" I mean, at this time, at this point in time, I mean, it's harder and harder, especially if people are younger than we are. Like, if they're like 25, 30, I mean, they're not really album people; they're song people.
Right.
I am album people. Like, I'm an album person all the way, and I think I'm very conscious of how I want an album to flow, where I want the songs to be, and I do like. I don't put myself in any boxes, man. Like I write what I write and it comes out the way it does, but I don't ever go like, oh, I need to write a banging, like all heavy down tuned, or I have to put breakdowns or whatever. I play how I feel. And I think once enough stuff is out there, I definitely feel like I play some shit. You're going to be like, oh yeah, that's Vinny playing that guitar part. Cause I feel like I fall into the same places. And unfortunately I haven't had a lot of outside influence because on every recording so far, it's only me on guitar, even though we're a 2 guitar player band. We never seem to have a second guitar player when we actually get to being in the recording studio. So
I think it's like, you're going to be like, yep, that's where he threw his hands up right there. You hear it?
Drinking. That's where he was drinking. It's a whole bunch of like things to get in. I mean, that's why I love talking to you guys, because you guys are like in it. You understand like all like how all the little areas of what's going on in the scene in general, right? And it is interesting time to be doing it, but it's also kind of liberating. It's you can kind of do whatever the fuck you want. And, like I didn't realize Avenged Sevenfold, we have a Discord channel now from the Twitch. And there's a person that came into the Discord channel, huge Avenged Sevenfold fan. I was like, I've never been into Avenged Sevenfold. Then they're like, well, have you heard this? I was like, no, but I know I don't like them.
Well, we don't either much anymore. But
not the last 2 albums.
So I listened to it though. And I'm like, holy shit, like the first album, it was like there was like straight up death metal on that thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like
they were
the horn or the trumpet album, whatever the hell it was.
Sounding the 7th trumpet.
Yeah. So I'm listening. I'm like, what is this? It's like there is straight up screaming through the entire song. And I'm like, it sounds like death metal. And then all of a sudden there's a piano song there. And I'm like, what are they doing? Like they had no And I was like, I love this. I was like, oh my God. I got into second and now I'm on the 3rd album. I'm kind of going through their discography and I'm like, holy shit. I had no idea that they were that talented or that good, because all I heard was Bat Country and I hated it.
Well, see, the funny thing is you mentioned, since you brought it up, on Waking the Fallen, their 2nd album, there's actually a 2-part, there's like a 2-parter on Waking the Fallen. It's called I Won't See You Tonight, Part 1 and Part 2. And Part 1 is got pianos. It's almost a straight up ballad, and this damn thing is like 11 minutes long, that song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Won't See You Tonight Part 2 immediately goes. I mean, the lead to Won't See You Tonight Part 2 is M Shadow's just screaming at the top of his fucking lungs before he goes into Nothing But Gutturals the rest of the way.
it's awesome.
Yeah. And then they quote unquote made it with Backcountry, and then all that shit went out the window. Now don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I was okay with that personally. I didn't, but like I said, that's a to each their own kind of thing, and that's fine. But yeah, their sound, they did a complete 180 from albums 1 and 2 to album 3 and beyond. They absolutely did.
And that's
now it's like a what, I don't know, what's 360 720 or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know where the fuck they're at now. They're out there now. So it's all orchestral and it's wow, man.
That's like what's interesting to me about it is though that's the kind of band I see like they have a long life, man. I mean, they can do so many things.
Right.
So they don't shoot themselves down like, fuck it, we're going to do this thing. We're going to do this thing. We're going to do this thing. They do. And that's kind of how I feel like, it's funny. I'm not an Avenged Sevenfold fan, but I feel like a kindred spirit now with them. I'm like, that's kind of how I like, I'm going to write what I write and it's going to be on this album. Like the album is 10 songs. It's coming out. It's going to have some stuff that's like Ferryman. It's going to have way heavier stuff. It's going to have really soft stuff. You're going to have something you like on it. Guarantee it, but you might not like the whole thing.
Well, I mean, but that's at the same time, that's what's great about music in general. But I think in the narrower spectrum in which we're talking, you can have 10 songs and one person may like 8 of the 10. The other person may like 8 of the 10, but the 2 that they don't like are going to be completely different from one person, from person A to person B to person C. So
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
That's what that's kind of what I love about the genre is that you get that much diversity in one album. And I think the craziest thing we were talking about, it was just a couple of weeks ago. I had to go back and look, but there was an album I reviewed, and it was just it was blasting all through the fucking thing. It was like 9, I think it was 10 tracks. They got to track 9, it went off, and then it was like a minute or 2 minute and 12 second it was kind of like a instrumental outro,
like an outro.
Yeah, but the thing was that it was to a tone to where it was almost like I felt, you know what I'm saying? I felt them saying "see you later." You know what I mean? That's how yeah. And I'm just like, dude, this just like I cannot believe that touched me like that. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And like, and I brought that up to Chris when I was talking about it. I said, man, this outro, like, I don't like that most of the time, but dude, that was perfectly done. Perfectly. I'm like,
you got your closure, but
right. And it was like the little thing is like, it was almost like a, Megadeth saying we'll be back, because I mean that's kind of like where they ended that album, was like we'll be back, like so we know they're going to make another one. So
that's awesome. I mean, and I don't know, like there's nothing wrong with bands I think that have their sound and they do it. I mean, I like I'm playing with stuff right now. I don't know what people are gonna like. Like Ferryman, right, was very much written in a way that the label was very like they heard everything we'd done and we're getting into the album writing cycle. Like, guys, we need some songs. Like we need, to come out with the first one. It needs to be a little shorter than what you guys normally do, a little more straightforward than what you guys have put out so far, because we want to do a lead-off single and we want to like get people that haven't been into the band, we want to bring them in. So it's like, let's whet their appetite with this something a little bit more easier to chew on, right? And I'm like, at first, like visceral responses, I don't care. But then I'm like, business hat on as opposed to musician hat. That makes a lot of fucking sense, right?
You had to get past the initial fuck you.
Yeah.
Dude, they're only suggesting things that they have done with other bands that have helped them grow, right? So yeah, Ferryman to me is very much, it's a simple, straightforward track. It's not how I normally would write a song. It came out cool. People seem to really like it. I'm glad, because I was questioning it. I'm so close to it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm writing a little differently than I normally would. So I don't know how to check the quality there, because it's like, well, I know personally I wouldn't have done this, but I know that the way I've written in the past, like my favorite song off the EP was Stand Together, and that is the like least favorite song of everything. So I'm like, okay, I can't base everything on what I like either, because that
Yeah.
I mean, so we put it out, man, and it's doing really well. I mean, it's got way more plays than anything in this brief time. And people are like sending me messages. They're like, "Oh, I love this song." I'm like, I am so glad. I mean, glad to hear it. The next song coming out, and it will be out probably, I don't know, maybe February. It should be dropping the next single. That's a song we've been playing for a long time in the live set, Sever. And we have the full production on this thing. I mean, it has screaming guitar solos, like three different solo sections are in it and stuff. It's just nuts.
Nice.
So I'm really looking forward to that one, because I think you're going to see we're just we're still figuring things out. And I'm okay saying that. I mean, I think this first album will be a lot of us testing the water, trying things, figuring out, working with our engineering team, like production and stuff, like, oh, this is who we are. This is what the sounds we're going for. And I'm excited to get this album done, but I'm really looking forward to the album after this one. Because I think we'll have a lot of this stuff figured out, and it will be a little more cohesive, but this could be also really, I don't know. I think this could be a really amazing album at the end of the day. So
now let me tell you something about the Ferryman that you may not want to hear.
Let's hear it.
I got total Trivium vibes from it. So I was like, yeah, as soon as I got to like the chorus, I'm like, damn, that's some Mad Heafy shit right there.
I actually did too.
Did you really?
Did too.
Someone on TikTok or something, in like the little chorus cut that we put on there, someone goes, I can't remember who they are. If you watch this, appreciate the comment, but they went, tell me you're into Trivium without telling me you're into Trivium. And I'm like, and I'm like, in there, I'm like, I've never listened to Trivium. I still can't name a song from Trivium, really. But that's awesome. The only thing I can imagine is that Matt Heafy and I have similar like background interests. Like my favorite bands are probably some of his favorite bands, like Metallica, Megadeth, Judas Priest.
Oh yeah.
All that is where I come from. And now I have watched his stream a lot, and I see he goes through a ton of different styles and genres as well. He is extremely well versed. Like he will play really melodic passages, a lot of piano. I love piano. It's one right beside me. So I just think we're probably kindred spirits in like what we like as influences, but I don't listen to Trivium, and I don't know why. I think maybe because it does come across maybe as something that I would do, so it's not as interesting to me. Maybe, I don't know. It could be that. But yeah, it's weird when people say it. I don't take it like it's not a problem. I think they're fucking incredible. It's just it's not the music I listen to, man. It's like I have not. I've been listening to a whole bunch of like what the fuck is that band, dude? That's out there right now that wears the masks. I got into like
Sleep Token.
Yeah. I've been listening to that shit a lot. I'm like, oh, I like this. This is cool. I hated it at first, and then I started to like it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. They're weird all over the place, but yeah, I mean, Judas Priest just came out with a new song. I've been rocking.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Trial by Fire. Oh, it's so good.
Dude, like two songs on this album.
They got two songs. Yeah.
They do have two songs, but Trial by Fire is the newest one, and I think it's actually better than the first one.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, but
so I think
it's going to be a great album, though.
That's if I have my pick of what I'm listening to, it usually will be Judas Priest, Dio, Ozzy, old school stuff, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I do like with this band with Ashes Rain. It's all about loving that stuff. But I know you probably run into bands like you can hear them and like, oh my god, they're trying to sound like Metallica on the Black Album. It sounds dated. Like they sound like Iron Maiden a lot. A lot of bands that are like new coming out. It's like oh wow, man, they sound just like they're trying to play like Iron Maiden stuff. I feel like, I love all this stuff. I love Maiden and all that, but I'd sprinkle it in while also keeping it modern, because that's what I want. Right. I want it to be a modern metal band that you can obviously tell the people in it are paying nods to like traditional metal.
Yep.
And I think we do that pretty well. And Ferryman, the chorus, dude, I think is really catchy. That's awesome. I think that's why people like it. You hear it, it's repetitive, and it's short. It's like 4 minutes long. That's like half a song to me.
Yeah. I think too with like the I guess like the Kraken thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that too may give off a little bit of like Trivium vibes for some of the stuff that they've done with like some of their artwork in the past, maybe because they had like Court of the Dragon and what the Dead Men Say was kind of their piratey themed I guess album, because there's a lot of stuff I could see being in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie playing in that album. I'm just like, oh, that could be in the Pirates of the Caribbean. But yeah, so I think it's just a combination of things with that one song. Like to me, like if I go back and listen to Mountain Echoes, I don't hear any of that. So it's not like it's a constant thing where, oh, well, they're trying to be like True. No, they're not.
No,
It's just a coincidental thing that
yeah.
kind of reminded me of Tribute. It wasn't like a rip off or anything like that. We're not trying to say that. It just kind of gave me the vibe like, oh, that's kind of Tribute. Okay.
It's funny to me. People have come to shows and even said like, because I mean, I guess on stage too, my stage look like when I have my vest on and everything, like you even look like him a little bit. And I'm like, what? I don't even know who this guy is. And I started
I was telling Chris, I said they got the same hairline too. So it's like, yeah. I said that's probably what it is. So, but yeah, I'm like, honestly, dude, if you were to like cut it down like real short, I mean, it would just like Heafy did like 10, 12 years ago. It looked just like it.
Yeah,
because he that's why he's bald now, because he just said, fuck it, I'm tired of doing this shit. And he just shaved it. So
my hair was super long in the beginning. There's probably still photos out there, live shows. I mean, it's really curly and it was like down here, like. But I mean, yeah, I had the receding hairline kicked in. I was like, "This looks horrible, man. I might as well."
Yeah, you don't want to look like strapping young lad era.
Oh my God,
yeah.
You just gotta like you play the cards you're dealt, man. That's unfortunately. I mean, like we all don't get flowing luxurious hair, and
I love but
and the hair don't make you play any better, so it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, it's I don't know, man. The nods to Trivium are always interesting. We get nods to Avenged Sevenfold quite a bit, and I'm like, once again, a band I never listened to until recently.
I could probably see a song, maybe two off of Echoes that maybe I could see maybe the Avenged Sevenfold and
like if you squint,
Well, yeah, I mean that's like. To me, like when I heard Mountain Echoes, I'm just like, I never got a like, oh, this sounds like whatever. I never got that. Of course, I wasn't, this early on for us too. That was our second year in. This is our third year in, so we've kind of grown into this thing too, to where we're listening for different things now. That like a lot of times, like, and I tell Chris, I was like, a lot of times when I'm listening to stuff, I'll listen to it first. To listen to like, oh, okay, this is good. I like it. But then I go back and listen to it again and try to pick out what I like about it and what I don't like about it, so we can kind of pick it apart during the review, whether good or bad. And then it's like, a lot of times I'll be like, I don't think like before when we did this the first year, I ever was like, man, this drum solo just fucking stuck out, man. Like, it's like the guitars and stuff were there, but you can still hear you can still hear it. And I think it stuck out. Before I would never see anything like that, because I was just like, oh man, this is great. Everything was
so definitely need to get you guys an advanced copy of this thing when it's ready to come out and have you do it.
Yeah. If you got our email, that's usually where I ain't gonna lie, we get, and it's like so tickles us, man, when we go like, hey, check this. Actually, we got a band on next week. That's how we discovered them. They sent us their track.
Yeah, they reached out to us.
They said, hey, see what you think. And I hit them back and said, dude, I like this. You want to come on the show? So they're actually going to be here next week. So it's kind of, I never heard of this band. They've never heard of us. And it's kind of going to be cool.
It has to be said that we got to thank you guys for fucking doing it, because that's another thing about you guys. It's like just the way you talk and the way you do it. I don't know how many out there are taking this much time to seriously get in there and listen to it like that. You know what I mean? Like you're talking like hearing the little integral things that really make it stand out. I mean, thanks for doing it, man, because there's not so many people out there, I don't think, who would be willing to give that time up to do that. So we appreciate you guys.
It's been our pleasure. It really has.
And talking to you earlier in the show when you started talking about stuff, I said, okay, he just gave me a new goal. So now my new goal is I want a band that we interview at some point to say, hey man, we just got a deal because they said we seen you on the Metalheads Unite podcast. That would be so fucking cool to me.
That would be a pretty nice. That would be
like, hey, we just gotta. I mean, it ain't gotta be. It could be a little label. I don't care, but just to hear somebody, just to hear that something we did helped them progress is just because I don't know like the timing of shit or if we're just good luck to bands, but it's like we'll have bands on the show. Like we interviewed Hexed. Like I set that up, and it was like 3 weeks out, I think, from when I set it up. The very next week, man, they were on magazines in Germany. They like all this shit. Just
they got like a festival date.
Yeah, they got all this shit. And I said, God damn, they ain't gonna come on the show now. They got too big for us. but they did, and like we got a standing joke with them from the show, and that's something else that we like because we get these stories or something happens, that's organic during the podcast, and it kind of carries over into a story later on, and it's great, and we love that. And like just like talking to you now, it just feels. It doesn't feel like work. I mean, it really does. It just feels like three guys that love metal shoot the shit, and you're just having to be in a band, and you're using, we're giving you the platform to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to do. Look for this, look for that, and we'll share the shit out of it. So,
yes, we will.
Appreciate you guys, but yeah, just hearing you talk about album reviews, I'm like, I can't wait, and I want you to be like fucking 100% honest too, like Vinny.
Oh yeah, we will.
We will. Yeah, we will.
I mean, you had me up until that point where you just sucked, and then tell me where it was. So I didn't do it.
Well, I mean, we've you can go back and look at Spotify. We've actually had bands on the show where I'll be like, "Hey, man, this was weird placement. Why did you guys do that?" And they're just like,
yeah. Tell us what the thought process behind this and that.
But the thing is, I'm not trying to be an asshole or rude.
No,
I want to understand your thinking of making the album because as a fan, we don't listen to it the way you wrote it.
Exactly.
So if I can get that connection, it may change my mind. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well then I get it. You know what I mean? Or well, hell, that don't make no fucking sense. I mean, one way or the other, it's just like as one way or the other, we'll get something out of it that's concrete instead of just going based off what we think we know.
Yeah. Well, I love it, man. So
well, yeah, because what we hear as an individual is just an assumption we make on what we hear. We have no idea what the impetus was for writing these lyrics or writing that fucking riff or that bass line, that drum line. We have no idea. All we know is it came together, we listened to it, and it made me feel X, Y, or Z.
Yep.
That's all we know.
And I just was going to do something, and I realized I had it on the wrong screen. So just a second.
All right. So while he's doing that, I mentioned this earlier in the show, so I want to ask you about this now. I want to know the story behind this tiki mug,
man. So the Guar Bar, obviously Guar out here in Richmond, Virginia.
Right.
Yep.
When they opened the Guar Bar up, and I can't remember what year it was, but it was years ago, maybe 2014, maybe. So obviously I had to go because being a Guar fan, seeing Guar shows like nothing else, man. Especially if you catch them in a smaller venue, man. I caught him here in the hometown, and like spraying blood everywhere. It's just crazy shit. It's just a crazy. It's a fun time. It's somewhat offensive, but it's a fun time.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
It's only offensive if you let it be. So
right. Well, I mean, they make fun of everything. They don't give a shit.
Everything.
Yeah, there was the part with like a giant baby on stage that they were into the vagina, and I was like, "This is a little much, maybe." Yeah. All in good Guar fun.
It was like when I seen them. I think it was at Blue Ridge. They were doing a set there, and they were talking about. He said, "Hey, did you hear this story about their the big abortion laws and all this stuff?" He said, "What?" He said, "No." He said, "They have them babies. We the only ones that kill babies." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" I was like, damn.
So I went out there. I got. So they were selling the tiki mug, man, with any alcoholic drink. So I got like a drink, and they get you the mug, and it was like $15, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. So I've had this since 2014. It's been sitting on the studio desk here,
Wow.
just sitting here. We start twitching, and Ryan's like with the bar scene. We got set up. He goes, dude, you should put the Guar mug up on the bar scene. It's super cool. We can show it to the people watching on Twitch. I'm like, that sounds like a fine idea. Why not? I mean, it just sits over here. Why not? So we put it over there, and we did the stream, and we drank from it, and we ended the stream. And as we were cleaning up, it got knocked over and busted into a bunch of pieces on the floor. And I was like, that sucks. And he's like, yeah, dude, that does suck. He's like, you can probably find them on eBay. He's like, I find shit on eBay all the time. I was like, yeah, you're right. Probably cool. A couple days go by, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I should go look that up and get another one because I do kind of miss it. It's not sitting there anymore.
Yeah.
And I used to look at it. So I look at it, $415 fucking for this.
What the fuck?
Holy shit.
Oh shit.
And I mean, I won't pay that now. I will not
No.
pay $15 for this thing.
Right.
And I'm
Maybe-
just, fuck, man. If I had known, I probably would have sold it my damn self.
Shit, the only way I would consider paying that much for a mug is if you found out that Odorous Narungus used it as a codpiece at some point.
yeah. Some kind of prop or something.
Yeah.
It's still so look, Ryan and I, we never take time to celebrate anything. And we've had a lot of milestones like in this band. Like one of my goals was like to have in every city that we were going to tour in on Spotify, you can get all your metrics. It's like in every city, I want to have X amount of listeners in every city that we're going to tour on.
Yeah.
And we have hit the metric that we wanted to hit. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's awesome. But along with that, we've hit all these other things. Like we've got X amount of plays and we've got all these things are just happening. And they're just happening so quick and we just keep working. We never stop. And I was like, dude, we just need to go to the Guar bar. They still sell these tiki cups, but they're the new version. They're not the original, unfortunately.
Ah, wow.
Yeah. But you can still get one of the color of the year. And I was like, dude, let's just go down there and just chill. And of course, we're bringing a laptop and we're looking at when we go. So we're still working, but we're going to be doing artwork stuff and all because it makes sense, man. It really is a small business. And we have taxes coming up at in the beginning of the year. There's a lot going on. So, but yeah, that's the unfortunate story of my mug that I cannot fucking believe is set on this desk for that's a long time, dude. What, 8 years?
Yeah, 8 or 9. Yeah, going on 9.
I mean, crazy. Whoa. Get a tiki. Oh, so a tiki mug over there.
Yeah, that's my aunt. She lives in Hawaii.
Oh, that's cool. Now that would be an authentic tiki mug.
It really would. Yeah, she could get you the real deal over there. So
hook him up, Amy. Then he can show it off on Twitch and give you props for it.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
We love Twitch, and I do awesome. I show everything on Twitch. Be warned.
Not everything, because they'll ban your stream for that shit.
Well, yeah.
They are very into banning and striking you for all sorts of things.
Yeah,
we had a guy banned on there. So,
for
good reason.
Oh yeah, that was freaking.
Okay. Well, just simple stuff like we're doing things like we're doing something that was really fun. We went up to New Jersey a couple weeks ago for a band meeting. We're doing some tour related stuff we had to meet with. And on the stream, we usually stream on Sunday. So we took a mobile system with us and we took a mobile hotspot and we streamed the drive to and from New Jersey. And we played Spotify playlists. And we had people like spending channel points on Twitch to like suggest songs and we throw them in the queue. And we just did
shit. That's cool.
We did a big listening party the entire time up and back. We met a lot of cool people on that stream and that they're sticking with us. Now that has become a thing we do every Sunday now. We're kind of talking days, but like we did it Wednesday again. And it's awesome. It's such a fucking blast. You get to learn about bands you've never heard about before. They just love suggesting the bands. We get to sit here, we get to like goof off and talk about what we're hearing. And also like in the middle of all of it, I sing all the time. So when I'm listening to songs, I'm usually mimicking it. So we built like a scene to go into the cathedral, and I put on my reverb voice, and I actually can do karaoke live on the stream like instantly. So one of our guys, one of our followers suggested fucking Painkiller from Judas Priest.
My Lord.
Nice.
Yeah, he paid his fucking points, and he's like, dude, do Painkiller. And I had to fuck with that song for like 10 minutes in this karaoke setting. And it was horrible. That is a very hard song to sing.
Yeah. Yes.
So
yes.
that's the kind of
well,
doing there.
Speaking of that kind of stuff, let me switch up just a second here. Not to try to toot our own horn or nothing, but here you'll see we actually have our own radio stream now. So we actually have a 24/7 radio station. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's we're on a guy's what was he I just went blank. But anyway, he's in Europe. He's a good friend of another friend of mine, and he said, "Oh yeah, I can get you guys a hookup with that." And so he got her the hookup, and then she was able to put 4 different stations on her whatever she got. I can't remember her server. She was able to put four. Yeah, so she was able to put 4 different stations on her server. So we were actually lucky to be one of her stations. So. And I asked them before, it's like, hey man, I'm not going to do anything that if it's considered stealing. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that any band I play on this stuff gets credit. He said, dude, I pay a yearly fee for copyrights. They will get paid. I said, okay, that's all I need to hear.
Right.
So if anything comes up, they're going to come looking for your ass, not me, because you told me that it was legit. So, but yeah, I mean, so far it seems it seems like it is, but. Or he would have done got shut down. So I mean,
well, congratulations.
So he pays for the copyright. So
that
and so but yeah, so that's so that since we have that though, that's one of the things like I was talking about maybe doing next year is me and Chris going in blind with some of the new music coming out and just kind of like do it live, just listen to it live and just be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. But of course, I gotta get this soundboard shit figured out first. But so we're not gonna be doing shit. Actually, no, I can probably do it from the actual just unplug it all together. That's what I'm saying. So
well, I mean that's something we'll have to figure we can figure out. But let me ask you this, Vinny. You were talking about the metrics for all of the cities you want to hit. Did Nashville hit did Nashville hit metrics?
Yeah, actually, Nashville is in there. We've been told we want to target from like North Carolina up the East Coast and then heading over into Chicago. So Tennessee was involved. And the metric's pretty low. I mean, to be honest, what we want to see is monthly listeners, grow. But if you can get 20 monthly listeners in the cities that you want to hit, then the assumption becomes you can probably get 5 people to come out to that show, especially because this is all kind of a snowball thing. So we're targeting those cities with ads every month for the last 6 months. And it's going to continue until we're actually touring. So we're blasting all these areas. So they're going to have the name recognition, hopefully. The music can get to them because we don't expect anyone to click on it the first time they see it. There's no reason they would. I don't click on my favorite bands the first time I see their ad. So it's usually 5 to 10 times after I've seen the ad is when I would click on it. And if you look out there in marketing, like there's a whole bunch of things you can take. Like I took a bunch of marketing classes on like Udemy and stuff like that you pay for classes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like all these statistics that say most people will not interact with an ad until they've seen it between 8 and 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. So you just got to blast things for long periods of time into these areas and just watch them slowly take and build. I mean, for the first 4 months, nothing happened. And then 5 months in, we started seeing the numbers growing in these areas. And then now we're, it helps when you have more music, but we're like 6 months in,
right? And
the new music's come out. So that kind of added to the all that.
Right.
We blasted it out. And we got new ads because all we were running was Paint It Thrash, right? And saying, check out this song. Now it's Paint It Thrash has been out there, and now we've got Ferryman. Come check that out. So they're seeing multiple things. Yep. So it's good. I mean, we're comfortable now that we can say for the tour dates that we'd like to hit, we feel like we're going to have at least a few people coming to the show because that's like the worst thing. at this point is like, fuck, the way we make money is really going to be touring and selling merch. I mean, it's going to be all that. And we are Twitching every show. We've already got it set up. So we'll be doing Twitch live streams of every show. And
thanks.
yeah, that will be subscribers only stuff. We're not just going to blast. We're going to have to do that. Because we got to have some incentive to get a little money out of this. But
of course. Yeah.
So
yeah, we're still playing around with those areas ourselves. So
exactly. I mean, I want to give as much as I can to everybody to get them interested. But at the end of the day, if we run out of capital, we are a business. If we are constantly in the red, the business dies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we have to make some money to keep the lights on, honestly. So we're trying to be cool and clever and doing the Twitch streams and blasting out. But we're pretty confident we're going to have people that will know who we are when we get out there, that will come out and see the show. And if you come to the fucking show, I'm telling you, because of Twitch, it's crazy. Because we play on Twitch once a week and we do it in the way we do it, we have become so fucking tight. It's stupid. Like it's easy to play these songs unless we get wasted.
I think Ryan was more amused about it than we were.
Yeah, he thought it was. He thought
it was hilarious.
Yeah, we're kind of watching it. It's all an evolution, man. Like you got to try things. It's iteration. It's like, well, we want people to come in, and people are like enjoying the rolling the dice and drinking the game that we have. But I can't do it. Like so now it's like, okay, we'll do it like every other song or something like that. Limit it a little bit. Because when we're fucking taking 8 shots in the span of an hour, then I'm wrecked. It's like
that would get anybody. Jesus.
Yeah.
Speaking of since we got back to the marketing thing, you were saying that Ryan was kind of giving you shit about talking about the Scranton shows and stuff. From what we learned from on here is that Northeast, man, is kind of on fire, man. There's a lot of fucking bands that are fucking promoting. I mean, they're self-promoting. Like, I mean, there's a band up in New England called Sepsis, and they do the same thing. They have a Twitch channel, and they promote like their own shit, and they do all these little things, and like it's like I said, they don't deal with like labels and stuff like that. They hate Spotify. Of course, they're like you, like we got to be on there, but we hate it. It's like
necessary evil for sure.
Right.
I'd love to see it change. And I just want to clarify. I wouldn't say Ryan talks shit to me. It's more that he's like, he tries to like sure that I'm aware. Like, hey, right.
Yeah.
The things you say could come across as being like kind of upsetting to people in our own scene. And I get it. I don't want to be like hateful towards my local area. It's not about, I would like to just see it improve. I want it to be better than it is.
Yeah, well, what you're saying, it kind of reminds me of when Richard Petty used to race in NASCAR, and nobody could beat him, and they were bitching about it. It's like, oh, well, you need to do, what do you say to your critics about they're saying this and this and this? And he's like, build a car to beat me, Like, so I mean, that's kind of the thing is like you're saying is like if you want to be like, you got to build it. You can't just like it's not just going to happen. I mean,
I definitely. I don't know. I'm not saying I have all the answers for it, but I do think it starts from it's a grassroots thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think if all the bands decide we are not going to deal with like places who are shady, that places that are uninviting, places that just don't have a good vibe, don't play those fucking places then. Play places where people want to be, and then it's your job because you want to be there as well to bring more people in because you love the environment you're in so much that you just want to see it be successful, and you're cross-pollinating. And now the success of that venue is paying off for all the other bands that get to play through there. But it does come from making sure and vetting the bands too, because sometimes it's the bands who are the fucking assholes,
That's true.
I try real hard to be very professional in every setting because no one owes me shit. And that's just the truth, man. No one owes me. If you let me play your venue, I appreciate that, and I'm going to respect it. But I see fuckers come into venues and just trash them. They act like they'll piss all over the stage. I'm like, why are you doing this? This is not. I mean, I get it. It's your moment in the spotlight, but you're fucking everything up for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of just cultural things. And yeah, I think you can fix it, but it takes work. And if it takes me starting to talk about it to see it change a little bit, whatever, fine. If you don't play here, I'll play somewhere else.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't see anything wrong with asking him the question, because I mean, it wasn't coming from a bad place. I mean, ideally, you would like every half-ass decent sized city, and granted, it's not going to be, especially in heavy metal, really. I mean, we're a niche genre, and that's how we started out. And as metal fans, that's for the most part, that's kind of how we like it, because then it becomes our music and our scene. So I mean, you'd love it for it to be huge, but it would probably, if it goes into the mainstream, then it's one of those double-edged sword kind of things. You want it to be so popular, but at the same time, you don't want it to be so popular that it's just like all these trendy people are in there for the wrong reasons. So the cool thing about metal is the people who are in the metal scene are there because they're genuinely interested in being there. So you would like to have every, like I say, half-ass decent city have some sort of scene that can maintain itself. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking the question, why isn't my city like that city? You're not trashing your city, but you're kind of like, can we get this city to be like that city?
Right.
That's why you're asking the question. You're not shit talking city A compared to city B. You're like, why can't we be city B a little more? So I mean,
and I do believe, in my case, my city could very well be. We have the talent for goddamn sure.
mhm.
The bands out here are just ridiculous, man. So it comes down to like working in the system, and like these venues I'm talking about in the northeast NEPA scene, northeastern Pennsylvania. The venues are so friendly and inviting, and they pay you, and they're just awesome. Like you fucking feel like family instantly. And they're just good to you, and people show up for that, and they don't even know what bands are playing, and they're there. They don't care because they know it's going to be something worth being there for. And not only that, the drinks are great, they're well priced, the food is fucking amazing. It's all these things, right, that come together to build something that people want to show up for. And you're right, the people who are there are like punk and metal scene people. But that doesn't mean we don't like to get together and have a fucking good time either. And you should be playing to more than just your band, like the other bands that are playing shows with you.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That happens so much, where you just go out there playing for the other bands and the people they brought with them. And that's just like, if a venue wants to book you and they want you to bring, if they're expecting you to like sell alcohol and stuff and bring people in to sell, then they need to bring people in too, to make your time coming out there worth it. I think like you said before.
Yeah. It's a promoter type thing, in my opinion. When you talk about the person that owns the venue should be out promoting the upcoming show. And I mean, whether it be running an ad on the radio or printing out flyers and hanging them everywhere, or of course, I don't know how many people actually do that anymore, because especially with social media. But he could plaster it on all of social media, be like, hey, at the metal shop or whatever, and just and say, hey, this is we got all these people, these bands are going to be here, come out, and blah 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 blah. So
yeah, it's only $10 for 4 hours of music. I mean,
so yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, everyone does that, right? The bare minimum, right, is posted on socials. But we are inundated with fucking content on socials. We just do that shit. That is not good enough. I mean, I tell bands all the time,
right?
Like when we play shows, we go up into the area a week or 2 weeks before, if it's close. Like not when we're touring, we're not going to be able to pull this off, but we're doing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, but we're paying for ads, targeted ads specifically to those locations within 50 miles of the venues that we're looking at, right? So we're putting that work in. But if we're playing these shows that like are close enough to drive to, we go out weeks ahead of time and we print flyers and we post them everywhere. I mean, Facebook will do like all these ads and stuff. They do fine. But if you're just posting it on your page, or if you're a venue, if you're just posting it on your page and saying, come out and see this band, no one's fucking seeing that.
Right.
You got some money behind it to get it to proliferate the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Your followers are not good enough.
I kind of feel like if I'm that well into having a venue that can put on shows like that, I would at least try to get like a billboard that I could change, a digital billboard at that.
Some sort of marquee.
Change it from week to week where, hey, this band's going to be here this week and this band's going to be here this week. That way people see that. But
what I have been thinking for a minute is exactly what we're doing right here. Is what's needed.
Right.
This is what's happening in NEPA scene. Is that they have like a committee that comes together of these people who are all about the music scene there, and they sit and they brainstorm. How do we make this better? What can we do? What can we do? Like they throw ideas and they figure shit out. That's what I think is really missing from a lot of places, is that actual like community. It's a community of people that are not just musicians. We have a community of musicians. Lots of places do. But what we don't have is a community of people who are looking to build the scene, and they're centered on the scene. They're not there to talk about their band. That's not what you're there for. It's a byproduct of it. Once the scene's better, your band is better too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You have to put that shit on the back burner and go, what would it take? What can we do to make this popular here? What aren't we doing today? We know we have the talent. We know we have the venues. We know we have the sound. So if you build it, they will come type of thing, like the Field of Fucking Dreams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not the way it is anymore. You've built it. They ain't coming. Why not? Let's figure out why. And that's how that's the only way you start to kind of fix this and get it to be thriving. But some people aren't open to even having the conversation, man. They're like, if
anybody's willing to pay a daylight night, I kind of know a couple. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's like I've suggestions on things already, like in the past, and I'll say something like just point something out, and the response I get is so defensive and shitty. And I'm like, I'm only asking this question because it's confusing or it just doesn't make much sense. Could we maybe think about doing it a little differently? And the answer, like, it's just a fucking hard no. You're a fucking band. Come out and play. I'm like, well, you don't have to play here. That's
right.
Now it's like, I don't have to. I get to choose where I got Twitch. I'd rather fucking play on Twitch, which is right behind me.
Yeah. Than to drive 50, 60, 100 miles for magic beans,
Yeah, not knowing if you as a venue even took any time to let anybody know we were coming.
Right.
And that kind of reminds me, like when we were on a previous platform with Dan, he actually kept bringing up Sirius FM. Like he kept wanting to try to get us on the platform with Sirius FM. And I was worried. I told Chris, I'm kind of worried about that. Cause I mean, you get into the big leagues like that, they're going to try to change shit. I don't want to change anything we're doing, because that's not what we're about. I don't want you to say, oh, well, now you're big time. Let's get Matt Heafy from Trivium on your show. I don't want Matt Heafy from Trivium, because everybody knows who the fuck Matt Heafy is. And that's what we're doing. We want the Vinny Carrions and those type people on our show that people need to know about that don't. I mean, that's the thing, is like,
you're right.
We're kind of the futuristic podcast, I guess. Because I mean, you got the Lou Brutuses and the Joe Manginis and all that stuff that do all that stuff every day, and that's fine. That's what they do, but that's not what we do. That's not what we built this for. We built this to help the smaller bands get to that next level, because we think they deserve to be.
Yeah. And that is super cool. And I mean, that kind of was the same sort of discussion we had to have, was like this labeled, like, are we okay? Because there are changes being made.
Yeah.
But the answer for us was, well, we've done about everything we can do for as long as we could, and we've gotten as far as we could without the assistance of other people.
Yeah.
We might as well give it the shot and see what happens. And I mean, because if you don't, you just never know what it could grow into, as far as it in our situation, right? I mean, our goal has always been have more people that are listening, that love what we do, and that we can perform for, because it really is all about that. I don't need you to it's not about you spending money on me. It's about you enjoying your stuff so much that you want to see me succeed, so I can do more to give you of what I do. You know, it's a creative, like you said, symbiotic relationship, and we get there by just having more, just having more people know about it, really having more avenues and more reach. And it's hard to figure that out as a band, you know, doing it on your own. And if you have figured it out as a band doing it on your own, then don't fucking get with a label ever. You know?
Right.
Yeah. If you don't have to, don't. But I mean, at the same time, if you find someone who will help you, because I mean, at this point, like you said, you kind of got to like the end of like this. You said we've kind of reached our limit, so now you have people who are helping you, and at this point, not to say will or won't, but if something happens and it doesn't work out, you've at least learned, I learned this, and I learned this. So moving forward, if we do come up with another label, we'll ask this question or we'll look out for this. And there will be red flags. There will be, lessons learned, hopefully there's no battle scars or anything, but I mean, it'll be in a learning experience one way or the other.
It's a risk and it is a learning experience. And we've already gained access to a network that we've never had. Like, the guy we're working with, Chris Dawson, is he's from Aphotic Studios out in Wichita, Kansas. He has a bunch of like top 40 charting bands that are all over Sirius XM. I mean, that's who he mixes and produces. So now that's who we work with. And right away, he's like, you guys are not up to code. He's like, what you guys are giving me is, you need to do this. You need to do this. So already, on the first half of the album, I've learned stuff that I never knew that it will take me the rest of my music career. Like, I didn't know the exact proper way to track guitars, like how many guitars in what sections and how do I track vocals? I'm brand new to vocals. I've only been doing it for like 3 years. How the fuck how am I supposed to track these vocals? Now I know because they told me and I had to give it to them the right way. So, vocal harmonies, for instance, I don't know shit about doing vocal harmonies. So they got me with a guy who kind of worked me through, gave me guide tracks, gave me like, this is the harmonies you want to do, sent them to me. I loaded them up and I re-sang all the parts. I could not at that time have done my own vocal harmonies. And there are harmonies all over Ferryman, dude, and it made it sound a lot better. So, I mean, you just got to be willing to like be okay with getting the help. Number one, I'm not a fucking unicorn. I'm not some special thing that is only here once in a lifetime. I am fucking help me. Tell me the way to get from here to here. And I will give you 110%. Just guide you through it. And at the end of the day, dude, I do it a couple times and I figure it out. It becomes kinetic. So if you go into this deal like that, knowing, hey, I'm doing this label thing, and if it doesn't work out at the end of it, I could probably go back to being a self-produced, individual and do a lot better off from the stuff I'm learning. But I like the relationship so much that I hope it will continue.
Yeah, well, honestly. Absolutely. I'm just saying if something were to happen, you will have things in your back pocket that you can always take away. And like I say, that will just be at some point, we'll probably more than likely become just second natures. Like, hey, this is like an automatic thing now. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Yep.
The other thing is like if Sirius XM came to us and been like, we want you on the show, but we don't want you to change anything. We just want to help you find more independent bands for you to talk to. Then I would be on. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Because if you're going to help me find stuff that I can't get because we do like. We reach out to a lot of bands that don't get back to us. I mean, it's not like people don't, because if people see this or see us on these interviews, don't think just because we reached out to these guys one time, they're like, oh yeah, fuck, let's go. Because I mean, we had a band like Halo Scars on here. I asked them for an interview in August and I forgot about them. They actually hit me up in November and said, hey man, we got some free time. So I'm like, hell, at that point, I'm like, who the fuck are you? It's like, it's been like 4 months and I done talked to like 3, probably 8 other bands at this point. So I'm just like, I mean, I don't remember. So a lot of times when I put these out, people like I had a band I talked to. It's like, hey man, it was the first band that we would interview from Italy if they agreed to do it. They loved the comment, but they never said, hey, we were interested or anything like that. So it's probably just going to be left like that. I mean, and it's cool. I mean, because I mean, it's kind of like I approached this like in acting because I took acting classes after pro wrestling. And they told me in acting class, they said, you have to be able to to handle 99 no's before you get a yes. If you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
handle that, then
Yeah.
you're in the wrong fucking business. Don't even try to be an actor, because you're going to hear no a lot more than you hear yes. And I was like, well, I mean, I hear that a lot anyway. I've been married for 25 years, so actually, my comment was, when he said that, he said, "You think you can handle that?" I said, "Dude, there was 300 girls in my senior prom, and I went by myself. I think I'm good." So, but yeah, but it's a kind of like you said, you got to be able to be able to take a no every once in a while.
Gotta have a
to get that one yes that's going to matter. I mean,
yeah, you gotta have a thick skin for sure.
Hey, for as many people that say, hey, I dig what you're doing, there's a lot more people that don't say shit, or some people that say, like when we did this Painted Thrash thing, I didn't know Black Dahlia Murder did that song. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But we did it, and then
I didn't either.
Yeah, you know how many times I've heard at this point Black Dahlia did it better, and I'm like, I'm not in fucking competition with Black Dahlia Murder, number one.
Right.
I would never enter that fucking ring. I'm not stupid. I mean, they're a completely different genre, and honestly,
right,
extremely technical. So I have a lot of respect for that, but I'm not in competition with that. I mean, people look at music sometimes as competition. I'm like, there's enough fucking listeners out there to listen to both of these and appreciate it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and go ahead. I was gonna say, and where is it written that multiple covers can't be done of a song?
Dude, I just wondered, did you even listen to it, or did you just come in with this smart ass comment that Black Dahlia did it better? Hey, if you listen to it and want to get in and critique it and say, I love what Black Dahlia did here and you guys did this, and I'll have that conversation. I'll be all ears. But if you're just going to come in and see that we did it and go, Black Dahlia did it better, well,
that's probably what happened more often than not.
Yeah, it's not helpful. It's not helpful. And now that I know they did it, would I have done it anyway? Probably, because our version is my version. It's the way I play, right. And it has nothing to do with them. So,
yeah, there you go.
Did they do Painted Thrash though, or did they do it?
Painted
Black.
They did Painted Black, but I mean,
well, then it's different. Then what the fuck?
It is different, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the same. They took Painted Black and made it really heavy. So, I mean, it's all we did.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not the same, because if you put Painted Thrash in here, you guys are the only band that show up. So it's not the same.
We're lucky our recording engineer at the time, he's the one who called it that, because he's like he called it. He's like, it's a thrash version of Painted Black. So I was like, oh shit, this sounds cool. Let's call it that now. That was his thing.
I want to share this screen with everybody too, just to kind of give them a idea of what to look for with this new track. So.
Sweet.
So there is the Ferryman.
So badass. God, that's
There's the Ferryman single there. If you're looking for it on any of the platforms or anything like that, I don't. Is it available on Bandcamp as well, Vinny? Or
I believe it's everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I almost would rather you listen to it on there. At least they get more money for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so there it is. So there, parting the sea and all that good stuff there.
Yeah,
so.
Thanks, Ryan, new router of Ashes Rain, for working on all that art stuff. He just sends this stuff to me, and I'm like, that looks like it will work.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking awesome. Dude. Like I've seen the artwork for this. I'm like, dude, that's badass. I like that. So
that's so good.
It's funny because he comes, like, we do still engineer the vocals together. So I have a booth over here, and I have a vocal chains, high-end vocal chain. So no different than if I was going to studio and actually doing it on my own. I get a lot more flexibility, right? So we do that, but writing that song had no lyrics whatsoever. Like, we just got in the booth and I started like going at it, and lines just started coming up out of nowhere. And this happens a lot with me. Like, they just started to come about.
Yeah, start flowing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this would be cool if it was about like the ferryman dude taking like souls across like to the afterlife, but there's like trying to, like, a monster that's trying to capture them, and then that's how this song got like built, and it just went from there. And then he's like, oh man, like, look, what kind of monster? And I love octopuses, man, like octopi. I have a tattoo on me of all these tentacles, and he got his big old head down here.
That's your favorite porn.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I was like, so when he started throwing the imagery at me with all like the tentacles and it's like a little Lovecraftian and stuff. I was like, I'm fucking down. That looks awesome, and people are loving the merch, man. We got a cool shirt that came out with it, and
Yeah.
it's really come together, man. But it's also been a learning experience because this is the first time we've had to get like really like professional like artwork and everything and work through what's it like to get that done and all the edits, and it's just a whole bunch of things, man, that I mean months go into just getting something like what you're looking there on the screen. It's nonsense.
And this stuff kind of always, the artwork always kind of amazes me, especially with something like this, because you would look at it and be like, okay, there's only probably like 3 or 4 colors in this. It's just the shade of it. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's like real colorful or anything like a lot of the, some album covers are, with especially death metal. Death metal albums are really colorful sometimes. It's like, and like I said, I don't lean to death metal as far as that, but they have some of the badass album covers that that out there, man. It's like these motherfuckers, whoever's doing their artwork knows what the fuck they're doing. So.
Yeah.
But I, to me, listen to it. I can't listen to a lot of it. I just kind of get to it's 1 or 2 tracks in. I'm just like, I can't do it. So,
I love melody. If the song doesn't have melodic stuff, content, then I get lost. But I do like the technical ability of death metal. So.
Oh God,
exactly.
You absolutely have to respect the talent, no doubt about it.
No doubt.
Yeah, because like we always say is I can't do it, so
no,
I'm not gonna trash on it. I just don't like it, don't lean to it. So
that's like when
everybody has their personal preferences on what they do and don't listen to. So
yeah, I remember when my daughter introduced me to Lorna Shore, and it's like I respect Will Ramos. For his ability to do that. I can't listen to it. It's
the same with Slaughter to Prevail.
I just can't. I mean, it's impressive the noises he can make. I can't. I am
in the exact same boat. I listen to it just to know what's going on, but that is not music that I can actually enjoy. Honestly, I can look at it technically and be like, this is some interesting shit going on here. Oh wow, that's incredible. How is that happening? How is he doing it? But I would actually rather watch the video of Will Ramos, like they got a scope down his throat.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I would watch that in Lorna Shore, unfortunately. I mean,
I've seen that video. I saw that, and it's incredible what he's able to pull off. But like, as far as any of their albums go, I was like, it's just that shit's just not made for me. It's just not made for me.
Well, it's just like Alex the Terrible with Slaughter to Prevail. I mean, he does some crazy ass shit too. And like he was doing some stuff on there. One time he barely moving his mouth. I'm like, how the fuck is he doing? And he's barely moving his mouth. Like that's fucking unreal, dude. Like,
it is crazy, man.
It's like, how's he doing that?
I lean the other way. I think it's equally impressive for guys like Jeff Tate from Queensryche to
hell yes.
But that music connects with me when I listen to it. Not only am I enjoying the music, but I'm also being astounded by the technical proficiency that he's. And other bands like we talk about Priest and Sebastian Bach is a huge one for me from Skid Row. Back in the day.
Tim Ripper Owens is one that we always talk about too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I just think it's. I don't know. It's like the traditional metal, and I think maybe that's why people say Trivium about us too. Is I think Trivium leans really hard into that traditional metal like sound, but it's modern. And I think that's similarity.
They definitely, as Trivium's career has progressed, the traditional aspect has come more and more to the forefront. Like if you listen to a lot of their earlier stuff, Matt was singing a lot more screams and a little more guttural stuff. As the career progressed, that took a little bit more of a backseat to the melodic and the cleaner vocals. Don't get me wrong, he still sprinkles it in there, and it's just as powerful as it was on the first album. But it's been an evolution, and I think Matt's kind of like, all right, I need to evolve for 2 reasons. 2, you don't want to stagnate. And for one, you don't want to stagnate. And for 2, I need to protect this goddamn throat, so like I say, he pulls it out when he needs to. He pulled it out in the Court of the Dragon right there at the very beginning of the title track. He busts it back out. So he wields it as he needs to. And he's also got his Ibaraki project So I mean, he's got that going on too. So he's
I
got.
tell you what I loved about watching in the Court of the Dragon. I've seen Trivium a few times, but every time they play that song, it just amazes me because they kind of moved it in their sets a little bit, and it's so funny how these people it's so straightforward and in your face when it first comes out that people are just like, "Where's my phone?" Oh, you done missed half the fucking song.
There's no lead
in. Yeah, it's
no lead in.
Yeah, Court of the Dragon. Like, damn,
there's
he didn't waste no fucking time.
There is no lead in at all.
I need to listen to more of this stuff, man, because I do feel like I really dig that guy, him, Matt Heafy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to give his music more of a listen to, but I guess I'm a little like, I don't want to hear it as much now because people say it sounds similar, and I'm like, I don't want to get into that vibe, man, where I am.
Right. I can understand that completely.
Yeah, I'm a little scared there, man, but I don't know, dude. I think it's cool. It is easier. I would say I don't like screaming. I never really did. Well, I like it now. Put it this way.
Yeah.
The reason that this band came about is because my brother was in a hardcore metal band, and all he did was screaming and growling vocals. And I was starting to dabble with vocals, and I only did clean, and I only loved clean at that time. So we recorded a song at the time, and he did the beginning. It was all screaming, and then I did the chorus, and it was all clean vocals. And that was like, holy shit, this is what this band needs to be. This is heavy vocals with mixed cleans, and it's like kill switchy and stuff. I mean, we're not using the wheel here or anything, but I was like, this is what this band really needs to have. And then I learned how to do it because I couldn't get anyone else to do it, so I learned how to do a little bit more of the heavier stuff. But my voice is never going to be as heavy as like serious death metal guys because my scenes are too important, and it does hurt my voice to do the screaming shit. So more and more I try to like steer it. Like Ferryman has a lot more clean vocals than a lot of our other stuff. The heavies got through in last minute because I just wanted to give it a little more variation. But I don't know, man. It's good to be able to tap into all of it, but I definitely lean towards clean vocals.
Well, I mean that's kind of your foundation, and then just adding some column accessories every now and then to your arsenal. Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with that.
It's aggression, man. I mean, it is. There are parts in these songs where I'm like, fuck, it really needs to be just hit hard and aggressive, and clean vocals wouldn't give you the same feel if I did it that way. So.
Yeah, and then even because even Jason and I, both of us, even though our foundations are in thrash metal, and more often than not, thrash metal is clean vocals mixed in with the, like you say, the aggressive stuff when necessary. But by and large, thrash metal is clean vocals. Even if it's up tempo and high pitch clean vocals, you still have the clean foundation. But even like Chuck Billy throws in some screams and I'd say borderline guttural stuff on occasion. So there's nothing wrong with mixing the ingredients together.
Right.
Because you'll know, like you just said it, you'll know when you need to change it up. So it's a feel.
Yep. Yeah. If I had done like the song Always and Forever and just screamed through it, that wouldn't have worked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
happy. Well, man, that's just a lot of people don't know how good Randy Blythe is on cleans.
Oh
because of what he, the band is built around him being the vocalist he is, but he has done a clean vocalist. I'm just like, dude, he should do some more of this, but I don't see it happening because
that would be it was kind of like,
I think it would kill the band because I mean that's just not what they are. I mean,
it sounded a little Alice in Chainsy to me when which I love Alice in Chains, so I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah, same, yeah.
Or like when Des Fafara busted the vocals back out on Wishing. That shocked the fuck out of me because I haven't heard him do a clean vocal since Cold Chamber, and those were even few and far between when they were doing that too. So when he busted that, I was like, oh my God. But
fans today, I never know what it's like to have to listen to like Slayer and all those bands in that era And like back then, they were fast too. Like even the vocals were like, you're just like, what the hell did he say? You had to go get Circus Magazine or Metalheads with the lyrics to the songs, and it was like, oh, okay, that's what he says. Like,
and I mean, I love that stuff. I mean, Anthrax is a big one for me.
Yeah.
I love Joey Belladonna, man, but his clean vocals are fucking phenomenal. Like clean with attitude and grit, though. That's a big thing for me. Russell Allen from Symphony X is huge for me for that same reason. He is really good clean, but he has balls in his voice all the time. Very much like Dio. Dio is like the godfather of that, of being vocals, but you fucking just this grit all the time.
Just Dio. I mean, Dio had power behind his voice for days.
Everywhere. And
power.
That's what I love. That's the kind of shit that I gravitate towards. That's what if I'm trying to emulate anything, it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to emulate shit like Dio and stuff like that.
Yeah. And one of my favorite vocalists is John Bush. So
fuck yeah. He did that. What was he do on 2 albums with Anthrax, dude? Sound of White Noise.
And then Stomp
442.
Yeah, Sound of White Noise was fucking awesome, man. I remember having that when I was like 14. I was that shit.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw the video for High Pro Glow on Headbangers Ball.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit.
I mean,
and then Stomp 442 doesn't get like the credit it deserves either.
Right.
I mean, is it a top Anthrax album? No, it's not. I wouldn't put it towards the top, but I mean, it doesn't get like.
I mean,
and they're still putting out quality music with Armored Saints. I mean, Punching the Sky was a great album, dude. Like it was 2020, I think. So
I mean,
21. I don't know.
Anthrax albums too were like the latest ones were great, and then Death Angels albums have been fucking fantastic.
Oh, man,
they really have.
Now I have to ask her, like, what would what would be your favorite Anthrax album? The top one.
God almighty.
Most people, I know what most people say, and I'm different. I have mine.
Jesus, I don't know.
Man.
God damn, that's a great question.
Yeah, that is a good question. Mate.
Fuck, I don't know.
For me, probably between Among the Living instead of Euphoria, maybe.
Okay.
I would probably
lean more toward Among the Living, maybe. But I do like State of Euphoria too. Of course, I mean all the early stuff was great anyway. I mean,
yeah.
Hell, even their last album, For All Kings was great, man. It was a fucking phenomenal album.
Most people answer this Among the Living. That's what most people answer. But for me, it's always hands fucking down been Spreading the Disease.
Oh yeah, that's a great album too. Yeah,
hands fucking down. Medusa is on there. Is it the Lone Ranger or some shit on there? I mean, there's so many good on Spreading the Disease, dude. But Medusa has been like one of my favorite songs, like from like ever since I heard it. I was like, holy shit. That's where I fell in love with Joey Belladonna on that album, man.
So just know you're gonna have to compete with that next year for album of the year. So I'm just saying, like they're putting out new shit next year. So.
Yeah. Well, I choose them right now. They win.
I just forfeit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But what's so crazy about that is like we do our year in review the very first week of January because we don't do the shit like all these other places. Like they already got album shit out there for voting on Metal Injection. I'm like, dude, you got 4 more weeks of fucking music. Like, how the hell are you able to put fucking like something may come out that blows everything else away that you got listed right here.
Yeah.
And like I don't think that's fair because because I mean I want to go it to the end. The last fucking album comes out in December is going to be in consideration. So that's the way I just look at it.
Yes, it is.
And honestly, we'll probably take the last week off just to prepare for the 3-hour show that we're probably going to put on the weekend after because we got to compile all this stuff and it's going to take some time. So because we got to go back and re-listen to shit that we probably rated in February. And we don't remember because it's been February. So,
yeah.
And what's so crazy is like I listen. Spotify put out the year in review kind of thing too, like what you listen to the
which I
most.
still thought was too goddamn early.
Yeah, but it's still cool because it is what it is. And like it said, I listened to 82 different genres of metal. I'm like, I didn't even know there was that many of them. So I thought there was only like 19 or 20. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But whatever. But and that speaking of that, kind of what another thing that pisses me off, they can't pay you guys, but they can put forth all the money to do this shit to compile stuff for everybody. Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I'd rather you not tell me and just pay the fucking artist. I mean,
exactly. I would.
That's
too.
just me. But,
I would.
Too. I mean, it's interesting to know, but honestly, I can code it and do it myself probably if I wanted to. So
I don't need to know. I know what bands I listen to. So I mean,
right. And and actually, speaking of Death Angel, they were on top of my list this year. So awesome. which is I can't remember. I think Machine Head was there last year, and then Death Angel was there. Machine Head was still in my top 5, but Death Angel took the top. And of course, Nonpoint was in there because that's one of my favorite bands. So
nice.
But looking at that, and I'm just like, wow, man. And it said 39,000 minutes of listening, and I think it was like, what was it? 1 February, I listened to 650 minutes of music that month. I was like, damn. But since we have the radio station, I'm not on there as much because I like to listen to that because a lot of times I'll get a bad download or something, and I don't want that on the air.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll listen to make sure, I listen to that a lot of times at work when I'm working just to make sure everything's smooth and running smooth over there. So,
right.
So if it wasn't for that, I probably would have a lot more on Spotify, which.
Yeah. I mean, their platform is, they've done good work. I mean, the platform is good. It's a solid platform. They should be able to pay more. 0.004 cents a stream. 1,000 streams makes you $4. It's stupid.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask that, but you kind of answered that question. So, because I was gonna ask what's the most you ever got from them, but if you got like 2,000 streams, that's only $8. So
we have not. I don't anything out of it, man. So let's see.
Really?
I've never even gotten paid for 100,000 streams. You make $230.
What the fuck? I guess that's like I don't know if you've seen that post, but Weird Al Yankovic posted on there and said, "Hey, thanks for the $12 for my 8 million listens."
Jesus,
I was like, "What the fuck?" He was being a little bit sarcastic, but it's still, we got the point.
Yeah,
It's. I always look at the calculators, man. It's stupid, but for a band like mine, we're looking. Even getting to 500,000 streams. Like you're looking at $1,000 from that. That doesn't pay for but one song.
Hell no, that's ridiculous.
Most of our songs are costing around $1,500, to produce one song right now.
Mm-hmm,
right?
Yeah,
just being forthcoming about that. It's industry stuff. It's nothing I can't say. It's about $1,500 just for the song production, and then adding in artwork and everything on top of that. Right. Just for the single release, like that single release that we just did, that's just art for the single. That's not even the album cover, man.
For the album, yeah.
So we're looking at like $2,100 for one song, just to put money in to get it out. And how do we make that money back? That's the question that we're always trying to crack the nut. Like, how do we continue to operate so we can bring money in so we don't have to let this die? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, our answer right now is touring and Twitch, and Twitch is, it's cool. I'm gonna talk about Twitch a lot because it's such a kick-ass platform. It's a lot to get going, and it doesn't do any favors.
That's the only person we have watching live right now, and they're on Twitch. So
that's awesome. Well, Twitch is really cool. I love being on there. And just doing whatever you want. Like I'll do I'm spinning it, but you can catch me sometimes recording the album, guitar parts and shit. I'll throw on Twitch and I'll just stream that while I'm recording actual album parts. So Twitch is like a window into what the band is actually doing currently. In real time, you can see what we're working on and how we're doing it, and ask questions. People ask questions all the time, and I tell them how to do it. So I think it's a really neat platform. And it actually does I mean, it's pretty fair. It pays you decently. In ad revenue and subscriptions and stuff like that. It's really cool, but it's people, getting behind you and spending their money on you at that point. And that makes it worse for me. It's like, oh fuck, people are actually into what we're doing now, and they're supporting us in real time. Now the product's got to be even better. So I got fucking new cameras and lighting everywhere. New fucking microphone.
And that's kind of like where we're still in growing pains too. And like I said, we're just going into our third year, so we're at the point to where okay, we got to find out what's working and what's not working, and then cut out the things that aren't working, and then focus on the things that are giving us the most views or whatever.
Exactly.
But like honestly, I think YouTube probably carries. Actually, Rumble I think is actually even bigger than YouTube for us because I got it set up to where everything on YouTube goes to Rumble, so like we have more people over there at Rumble than we do at YouTube. And honestly, Rumble pays you at 50 subscribers instead of thousands, so
wow,
that's a good thing too. Yeah, so that's a good. You start monetizing at 50, so that's even better. So
I never heard of that one. I mean, Twitch is similar. I mean, you don't make anything until you get affiliated, and affiliated requires you to hit some specific goals. But they were not super hard to pull off. And I think it was 50 followers. And then like you had to have 3 viewers concurrently over the time of your streams. I mean, we knocked that out in less than, like I said, 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and then
the crazy thing with us is like most of our stuff comes after the fact. Like we'll get people like this right here. I'll upload it to Spotify probably over the weekend. So we'll get hits on that. Probably during the week, and then we'll get people like I'll just watch the YouTube numbers over the week, and it'll go, it'll start going, 3, 4, 7, 8. It just keeps going up to it's a stalemate. But it's just crazy to think that it's more of an after thing than it is. And like I said, I think most like from what we've been doing, I think most of our followers are from the European area. So right now it's morning there, so
Yep.
All right, so it's like what 11 o'clock over there. So
my favorite bands are from anyway. Like Soilwork is like one of my very favorite. Bands. I love Soilwork.
That last album they put out was probably the best I thought. I mean that album was unreal.
And then unfortunately the guitar player passed.
Yeah,
that's impactful, man, because the last 2 albums are probably my favorite too from them, man. The one was something The Atlantic. It's right before the last one that had the bird cover. It's like a blue cover with a bird. I can't remember. It's like some I guess it's some Swedish word, Overstrom, or I can't remember all the names of these things, but I mean they were so good, man. I'm a little worried that they're gonna lose a little bit of that like progressive sound they were having because he's gone. But he was also a part of the other band that they're at. What was that thing, man? Something like Night Flight Orchestra. Have you heard of that?
Night Flight Orchestra.
Yeah, Night Flight Orchestra.
Yeah.
That shit's so cool too, but that was the guitar player for that band too. So I'm like, damn, man.
Well, and wasn't I thought Bjorn was in the Night Flight Orchestra too. So
he is, yeah. So
he's in it too. So like half of Soilwork is in the Night Flight Orchestra.
Totally
they're doing the European Sabotage thing. So
yeah, I saw that.
Soilwork's
on tour. They're going on tour, a European tour with some other bands I thought were pretty cool. Maybe Out or something.
In Flames and Arch Enemy.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, dude.
See, that's a fucking tour package there.
That is.
Yeah, no shit, man. They always get the good shit, dude. Like pisses me off. Like then they'll bring Soilwork over here and have them, fucking Nickelback opener some shit. What the fuck?
I don't know. Like I can't remember when Soilwork was in the States, honestly, man.
It's been a minute, I think. So.
I'd have to look. Yeah, I'd have to look.
Yeah, it was definitely before COVID. I know that. So.
Yeah, it's been a long while because I'd love to catch up with that. They're probably like, if I had to pick like a favorite modern band that I'm into, it's Soilwork. They are just, their catalog's fucking massive and just full of so much good shit. So
yeah, their last album was Over Gevenheaten. And then the one before that was A Wisp of the Atlantis. Yeah.
Yeah, with that fucking, oh my god, that album's so good. Anyway, I love them. Scar Symmetry is another band out that way. That
Oh
I
yeah, yes. Yeah.
So I mean, those like I kind of odds from that stuff, but it really doesn't. I don't think you can listen to them and be like, oh yeah, your band sounds like that either. So it's odd, man. I just
did you happen to catch the In Flames album that came out this year?
I did.
Foregone.
I didn't think I liked In Flames either, but now I find that I do like In Flames. Every song.
This album was very diverse for them. I think it definitely kind of came off of what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I actually was like, man, I was kind of worried when I started hearing one song. I was like, ooh, that's a little slow for In Flames. But then it just kind of carried into the vocals and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, it works. So okay.
There's one on a playlist that we run on our Twitch channel that Ryan runs, and there's a song from In Flames. It's all 2023 music from metal bands, and In Flames is a song there, and I really like it. And I was like, holy shit! So I guess I like In Flames. I gotta,
that last album was really good. You should check it out. So, and there's a new band that I just found called Miara, and they're from over in that area too. And they sound not just like them, but they definitely got some In Flames vibes from that. So it's like, man, this is so good. Yeah, you need to shoot us those bands. You said you didn't want to talk about it on air, but you need to shoot us those bands that you were talking about so we can check them out too. So,
oh
yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot, dude. I'm looking that out, and they are. There's just. I was just thinking about something. That was probably another band I was thinking about just now. Yeah, I mean, I can go all day here, just bringing up.
Oh well, yeah, like same. Just
bands.
Just from like I can go back to what I have on my album review so far. I mean, you had like to me like you had bands that were from the early 80s that are still putting out quality music. It's so fucking unreal to me that we're talking in 2023. We're talking about Metallica, not really Metallica, but 72 Seasons came out.
Overkill.
But we're talking about Overkill and Metal Church. I'm just like, dude, this is 2023, right? It's like,
it's like, what the hell is happening?
Is this isn't 1984, is it? But you got those
Earth or some shit from Overkill that came out, Scorched,
yeah.
That song is insanely good.
It's so good.
Oh my
god, it was a badass album, dude.
That's awesome.
Like I was like, how is he still doing this 40 years in? I have no idea, but
dude, that guy.
But I mean, even just like the new Priest single, I'm just like, dude, how's this motherfucker doing this shit at 70 fucking years old? Like how?
Like, I'm blown away by it. Like the guy. I mean, yeah, and the fucking guitar solos are fucking incredibly well done. Still,
yeah.
I'm just like. Yeah. I mean, that's goals right there, to be that old and be able to continue to play.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
well, real. I mean, like I said, I think big things, like especially with you guys being on that label now, and it seems like those guys are putting in the footwork just like you guys were. So I mean, you got people working as hard for you as you were for yourself. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, that's a recipe for success, in my opinion. So
I think so.
Yeah, I think
and then hopefully you guys can get that tour together and get close enough to where we can like come and see you guys and maybe hang out or something for a little bit. So
that'd be fucking sick. I mean, I expect it to go well. I mean, we're gonna have some good shit coming about. We just got to get all the tour stuff managed. We have to tour on this album. We have to. It's like no question. We have to do it. So we're hopeful to be.
So do they have a kind of a idea of the time frame they're looking at to try to get it out there? Or?
So they want. I can say like the idea is to do a mini stretch to get everyone like acclimated, because we're gonna have a couple new members. We're gonna get out. So do a mini stretch working off the singles, because there'll be 2 singles out by April. So they would like us to get out in April and do like a 7-day run from starting in like Lancaster, because we're gonna be playing probably a convention there, starting in Lancaster and then working our way around that area. So we'll probably end up we either can go straight up, man, go through Boston and Maine, or we could even end up, going a little bit, west. So we could end up in Nashville or something. Nice. That one's just to get like everyone comfortable doing it together, because we're going to have the new. But then after that, when the album's dropping, we are expected to be touring like probably 15-day runs every couple months. So we'll be out there quite a bit doing stuff.
That's kind of what I was asking. I was kind of asking, did y'all have a time frame for the album drop? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, for the album drop, yeah. So I think, I mean, recording wise, everything is kind of buttoned up, but the full album release is looking to be sometime, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's going to be October or November.
Okay.
2024.
So about a year out. So
yeah, so they've got us working on a lot of things, and they want to hold on. They want to release the singles slowly. So there's 4 singles on this album. So they're going to kind of just drip those guys out over the, every few months. So right now we got
it was like Fozzy did that stuff like like this past year. Like they just dropped that new album and they had like 4 singles out over the last 2 years before they actually dropped the album. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like,
hopefully this is the right way to approach it. So by the time this album comes out, we will have been far into the writing and probably recording of the second album.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's cool because if you do get into that, and then they're probably going to be like, hey, when you get into this last leg of this tour, throw a new song in there, or, something like that. So then you got a new track. Hey, this is going to be on our next album coming up this coming up here. So check it out, And I think a lot of bands do that. As far as I can remember, a lot of bands do that. Especially if they're working on something and they're like, hey, I know none of you. Hell, I was at a show. I can't remember who it was now, but they were like, "Hey, this is a new song, never been played. And this is going to be on our new album, but it's going to be like 6-7 months out." I'm just like, "Damn!" So they're playing a track off of it already, but they haven't released. But the thing is, they haven't released the signal on anything yet. So if you weren't at that show, you didn't hear it. So.
It's all about banking content and then releasing it very strategically. Honestly, I mean. Right. The worst thing you can possibly do is have an album that comes out and you just put it out. You want to be like wedding people, like I said, putting out Ferryman, getting people interested. And then a couple months later, we put another one out. And then a few months after that, another single's out. Constantly getting people like, fuck, what are these guys working on? What's this album going to be like? And there's 6 more songs you've never heard that will be dropping once you get those 4 behind you. So they have a whole like strategy behind the release, which is something we never dealt with. And then on the other side, like banking content for socials, we've never ever done this, but now we do it religiously every day. Every day there are posts on every network, everything. It's the same post across every network, but it's every day, and we have 2 weeks of content banked at any given day. So right now we have 2 weeks of us just banked. It's ready to go. It's already been scheduled and it will be hitting out there. But that's easy for us now because Twitch provides a plethora of content for us to just cut up and throw out there, and then add touring on top of that. It's the same thing, man. But this is like the stuff that a band doesn't think about. Bands like, I want to write music, I want to play shows. But if you're not doing the content creation right now, if you're not banking all the content so you can be constantly in front of people constantly need to be reminded to check my band out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the way it works, man.
I mean, the attention span. I mean, hell, Armored Saint sung about that. So we're in the shortest attention span era. So I mean, people, and like I said, you get out of that limelight for so long, and people's like, "Who?" Like, "Oh shit, I forgot about that band," or So then you got that window where nobody's listening. So then that's something you probably don't want to be involved in as a band. So you want people all the time, like you said. It sounds like they're on the right track of keeping you guys in the eyes and ears of where they want you to be. So.
And lucky for me, I enjoy this type of thing. Like I love talking to people. I love doing things like this, but I like twitching for me is like just a fucking good time hang, dude. I will talk to anybody as long as they let me talk to them. So
it's funny you bring that up because like about 6 o'clock, this guy come up to the door and he was with a roofing company. And I wound up talking to the guy for like an hour and 15 minutes. So I bet he was just like, God damn, can I just leave? And like he's like, yeah, I ain't never stopping there again. But
I have a no soliciting sign on my door. Don't ring my doorbell. I don't mind talking to people.
I keep them away from whatever else they're coming up to next, just on purpose, because they're like, no, we're writing that guy off. So.
My wife will do that. My wife will be like, hey, do you want to go in here and look? We'll be walking by Electronic Express, and Angela will be like, hey, do you want to go in here and look at TVs? It's like, no, I don't. For one, I don't have the money for a TV. And two, all you're going to do is get a goddamn salesman over there and talk to him knowing damn well we're not going to buy a TV. I don't like that shit. I don't like being bothered by salesmen when I'm not in the mood when I'm not in the market for shit. I have a no soliciting sign on my door. Don't come knock on my door. If I need something, I'll fucking find you. If I need a roofer, I'll go find a roofer. Don't knock on my door. I'll talk to people like this right here, Vinny. I'm like the same way. I look forward to this every week. Ring my doorbell at random. I don't want to see your face.
Right.
I think
I said something.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vinny.
No. I think I would say I'm similar to Chris there because, like, on my own terms, if you get
right.
On my own terms, I'm great. But if you just like out of nowhere I'm nice. Like if I'm out in public and someone like comes up and wants to talk to me, and I don't mind saying hi to people who are like in need and stuff. I see like we have a lot of homeless people and whatnot. I think they're still human, so I try to treat them with a little respect and dignity. But if you come up and approach me in the middle of my family time and try to like solicit me, as you were saying, that I don't take kindly to, because I have very little family time.
Yeah, no shit, no kidding.
So it's funny. Like we just bought a brand new Kia Sportage this year, so we got tired of dealing with used cars, so we just went and bought a new one. And I went to have it serviced for the first time. It was hilarious. We pull in or whatever, and I park it like in the front or whatever, and I get out and nobody sees me, I guess. So the guy's coming out the front door. He's like, "Oh, hey, you guys looking for a new car today?" And I beeped it. Yeah, like this one. He's just like, "Oh, never mind."
which is actually kind of weird. Which is kind of weird at a car dealership that you didn't get tackled the second you stepped out of your car. They're bad.
Yeah, because there was nobody like outside at the time. So
hate that.
Yeah.
That's you gotta psych yourself up for that shit. Like I'm going to get like, all right, I know what I want to do. I know exactly what I need. I don't need you to tell me. I know I've already done the research. I just need to drive this and see if it's cool. So I can't.
And I'm that person, like if I'm in a store or whatever and somebody's like, "Hey, can I help you find anything?" And I just come off the wall with some crazy shit. My wife's already like trying to find a new aisle to get in because she don't know me. So I'm just like, yeah, you know where the KY jelly is? I need that. And do you have a broomstick with like just a broomstick? I don't need the broom. I just need the stick and some duct tape. And they're just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
I used to do shit that I've grown to find it makes my wife uncomfortable. So I try to show her.
Oh, my wife already knows. She's like, as soon as they say, "Hey, do you need some help?" And she'll try to grab my shirt. Come on. I'm like, "Oh, come on, man. Fucking with people's funny." That should be like what 100,000 views on TikTok. Come on, man. Like,
yeah. The dumbest shit on TikTok, dude, is what
they do. Yeah, like I just created my own account because I do want to put some stuff on there that I've been kind of sitting on comedic wise. But it's like I just put like a dummy ass thing on there with a song, and it got like 600-700 fucking hits. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, what?
Put a stupid ass Thanksgiving turkey, like doing like shaking its ass. It was like a turkey shake, like dancing to our song. Because I was like, oh, it's like the lyrics are like carry us away to the gates of eternity. So I'm like, oh, it's a turkey. It's getting ready to go in the oven. It's gonna die for our this is funny. And that fucking thing took off, man. Like people were like sharing it.
It's so crazy, man. It's like that was like the new thing, man. Like you put something on there that even remotely, catches somebody's attention, man. It's just fucking it's gone, man. Like, I mean, we get that's where we get most of our hits from is TikTok, because he does like a Metalhead minute where he just does like a 2 minute, 2.5 minute breakdown of what we did the week before. Includes whatever we did. Like he'll do part of that next year with the interview. So and then like he gets like 900, 1,500 views or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need to follow you guys on there because I didn't realize you were on there.
Oh yeah,
man. Hell, we're on everything. Hell, we're on a Patreon. I don't even check that shit. So.
Oh yeah. We keep talking about that. I mean, Twitch was hard. It's like, man, let's just do Twitch.
Yeah. It's like I'm on so much stuff. Like I got us on so much stuff in the beginning. Now I can't keep up with it. So I'm just like, okay, I can't keep up with everything. We're just gonna.
It is hard to
keep an eye on actually what people are like doing. So we had to break down on what people are actually doing. And then the merch store that we did, we got our own merch store. I bought a domain and shit for that, and then So I'm trying to I'm about to go into buying my own presses and stuff, and I'm just going to do our own shirts. Personally, I'm just tired of dealing with the quality of what I get from those guys at I don't remember, Spring or whatever it was, but yeah, it's not as quality as it used to be. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't like this. I'm gonna just do my own shit because.
Right. Yeah, it's sometimes better. Sometimes it is a better way to go if you can pull it off.
Hey man, I know we're like running into like 3 hours here. You over like you about to fall out.
He's been
Vinny's
been yawning and moving in his chair to make sure he stays awake.
Make sure he stays awake. Yeah, he's like, well, you guys shut the fuck up. I'm trying to go to sleep.
I enjoy it. I'm here for it, man. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, I like I said, man. I told Ryan, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be doing this again. I honestly feel like this was the last one with you guys is still like one of my favorite just conversations. It's always like this. It's just very natural. It's just it's a conversation. We're obviously just into what we do and we just talk about it. And that to me is the best interview. Like some of these ones, man, it's like so scripted and like they're asking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. Yeah.
We were never, that was like, because that was
the first rule. We will not do that.
Yeah, well, and that's the funny thing is we went an entire year before we got our first guest, and we not that we didn't try, but it took us a little over a year to get our first guest before one of the last came on, and we were like, look, this is going to be our whole show is going to be. We have a format that we stick to, but even that being said, it's always been we go from one segment to the other, but everything's been totally chill. And we're like, when we start getting guests, we are not going to pepper these guys with all these bullshit boilerplate questions that they've probably already, we do ask about the tour, the album, and but I mean, we're like, we want everyone to be as fucking comfortable as possible on here and just lay back and just go.
Yeah. It's very chill.
Usually like we like so us. I know me personally. I think Chris could probably echo this sentiment, but the road stories is what I always love to hear.
Oh yeah.
Always different, and it's like especially when you get like we have Martin Motnick from Accept on here. He's a bassist for Accept, and he was just like, oh dude, he's like, dude, if you had like some of the other members on here that's been here a while, they could probably tell you more. He said, but I've only been with the band for a couple of years, so it was a
band too.
Like, yeah, they putting out quality music still too after all these years.
Still.
It's just like, yeah,
that's sick.
Crazy. But yeah, man. So if you want to just shoot all your stuff out one more time for everybody, where they can find you guys.
Ashes Rain Band on everything. It's the same handle on everything because that's one more thing to do. If you're listening bands, make sure you make everything consistent so you're easy to find everywhere.
Yeah.
But the big thing for us right now, Twitch. If you've never been into Twitch, if you don't know much about it, it's somewhat off-putting. But I would suggest just jump up on there and take a look at it. It's basically like a TV show that you can interact with in real time, and you can have us do goofy things while we're trying to get work done. It's fun.
and you can watch Vinny making bitter beer faces when he tastes his liquor.
We've changed our channel around quite a bit now. Like, we've got some fun stuff on there, but we enjoy Twitch. It's probably our favorite thing to be pushing right now. I mean, we're recording music. We've always done that. We'll keep recording, we'll keep writing, we'll keep playing shows. But Twitch has really given us an interesting outlet where we're actually meeting cool people. They're in our Discord. We have a Discord server as well. And it's just fun to hang out and talk. There's people sharing different pets. We got a girl up in our Discord who fucking she has 15 different tarantulas. I'm like,
oh Lord,
oh no,
whoa. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And she's always posting those. It's just cool, man. It's getting to know people through what.
Oh my God, what's her? Do you know her name?
MTDA, MT Dog. MTDA.
Okay, that's not the same. Like we had one that followed us not on this podcast, but when I did the podcast before me and Chris started this one, we had a follower that was a big tarantula person. That's why I asked. I don't think that was her name.
I don't know her actual name. It's that's her handle, but she's out of North Carolina is all I know.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I think this person was actually overseas somewhere, but yeah, they had a bunch of them too. But they had some crazy looking red ones and different colored ones. I'm like, hell, I didn't even know they had like that many different colored tarantulas. I thought they were all black.
That's the cool thing. It's like, we get to connect with people better through Twitch than anything else. I'd say it's even better than a live show because people are talking to us as we're performing, and we're just chatting back and forth. Like I'm talking, you're typing to me. So I just think it's a really good way to build connection with people. It's similar to what we're doing right now, in a way, but it just opens it up to everyone who's available is in there, chatting with you. So I really like it. The album and the singles, they'll be dropping. So keep an eye out on Spotify. Cause that's where, all the numbers matter. So we do try to push our traffic to Spotify simply because label heads and industry people, that's what they look at. They mostly pay attention to Spotify numbers, and we are now in the big machine since we're signed and stuff. And we have to play the game, and you guys can hopefully join our team and help us play a little better. So
hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He said play the game and almost spit water. So
yep.
Yeah, but sweet, man. And I do appreciate this, guys. And
also Bandcamp. Check them out on Bandcamp.
Yes. Yeah,
I'm going to make sure of that because you guys have brought that up, and I know that we have one, but I don't look at any of this stuff. I want to make sure it's.
Yeah, we got so many bands that live by that site that we forget to mention. They're like, oh yeah, Bandcamp. We'd rather you do it on Bandcamp because we get more stuff from there. Like, okay,
yeah,
and and I'd rather you guys get the most out of what you're doing because I mean that's the whole reason you're doing it. So
yeah, that's the most fair thing.
Yeah, you're not doing it to.
I'm looking at it now. I have to bring it up to Ryan because I see it's got Painted Thrash on it, but it doesn't have Ferryman. So I need to ask and make sure that the label didn't say we couldn't use it or anything something.
Okay.
I don't think that they would do that. I don't see why they.
Because like I said, every band we've talked to, even like Extinction AD's been around for 10, 12 years. They got like 4 or 5 albums, and they're all on there. So I wouldn't see why a label wouldn't want. I would think the label would want you everywhere that they could get clicks from. So.
I bet you that we just missed that one somehow, man. Because there's so many things. There's like 20 or 30 different sites that we have to upload stuff to.
I was watching you guys on Twitch the other day, and I don't know if I hit follow. I'll go back on there and do that though if I didn't.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're on because we're on there too. So
yep.
Awesome. Yeah. If you're
yes, we are.
We'll definitely jump on that. I'll keep an eye on that. In fact, I love it if we can coordinate time sometimes, man. We can do the guest thing, and also we can do the raid thing, which I love doing that. It's hard to find music channels to drop people on, but when we got our followers on and they're watching at the end of our stream, we want to drop them to another channel, but we don't have many connections music right now. So I'm like, I don't know where to drop them, but stuff like that. But
Oh, and I forgot to mention to you guys too. There's a couple of Facebook groups that we've gotten involved with from doing this because they do kind of the same stuff. They just don't do a podcast, but they do push local music and smaller bands. Metal and Tats, that's Dana is real good friends with us on there. He's got like 5K members on his group, but he's been doing it a while. So, but there's a lot of other bands and stuff on there too. So I see them on there all the time. Like, oh man, we should tour together and shit. It's like so it's pretty cool that they're networking through that site sometimes too. So. And then when there's Rockin' Heavy, which is another friend of ours, Victor. He does a group on there too, and he does a lot of stuff south of the border. So he does a lot of stuff in Mexico and stuff for us. So.
Mexico and South America, because his sister lives in Peru. Of course, that's where he's from originally. So his sister's still down in Peru. So he's constantly live streaming concerts he goes to, and then his sister does the same thing down in South America. So they're kind of holding it down in 2 countries. So
yeah, it's pretty cool because we got like a triangle of stuff going on here, and we all doing different stuff. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. Anything else? I thought my headphones went out for a minute.
Oh, I was about to say,
I think it just got quiet. I was like, what the fuck?
I thought you were. You leaned over. I thought you were starting to type something. I was like, oh shit, what are you going to type?
No, I thought my headphones went out, but I guess nobody was just saying anything. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. No.
But yeah, thank you again, Vinny, man. It's always a pleasure. Once the album's looking to drop, we'll have to get you back on, man. So
yeah, man.
More about that. Try to push that a little more.
Yeah, get you guys to review it. Tell me which ones never to do a song like that again.
I'm never going to say that because
I probably wouldn't either.
We're just one opinion, man. So it's sort of like,
yep.
Know, plus, I don't know. Like I said, when you talk to a musician, they have a thought in mind when they're writing, and a lot of times as a fan listening, you don't hear their story, I guess,
right? Yep.
Behind writing a song. So
yeah,
like I said, I mean, a perfect example was Stone Sour's "Through Glass." When I first heard that song, I said, "Dude, he's talking to somebody through a prison phone," because that's what it's. I mean, if you listen to the lyrics, I mean, it could easily be misinterpreted for that. And I'm just like, wow, he's talking to somebody. That's pretty cool. And then it come out to that's not even what it's about. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like you're not seeing yourself for who you are. It's kind of what he was writing it about. And right. I'm just like, oh, well, I see that too now, but that's not the way I took it. So I mean, like I said, as a fan, you can misinterpret actual meanings of songs. So I don't ever say, I would never critique and say, yeah, don't ever do that again, because that's, like I said, I'm one person and then 80 other people may love it. So
yep. Hell yeah.
But I will tell you my opinion on it. Whether
I
don't foresee not liking it. I'll put it there.
I don't either.
Especially if there's heavier shit than Ferryman on it. So
yeah, agreed.
The next one, keep an eye out for that. Sever is the next track dropping, and
okay. Yeah. Like I said, once we know all that stuff, we usually share it. I'll add it to my weekly playlist, like I did Ferryman.
Sweet.
Yep.
Anything new drops, I usually create a Spotify playlist and drop all the stuff. And I noticed they changed that too. Like I was dropping it into the new one for this week, and I seen like check marks showed up beside.
Oh
everything. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I don't know if that's giving like maybe the band notification that it got dropped into that or something. I don't know, but if it is, that's cool, because that way the band can be like, oh, okay, and then maybe they'll follow us. But
I don't know. I know I get like updates on like how many playlists that we get added to a day, but it doesn't tell me what they are. It only tells me the top 5, I think, that a song's played on or something. It's, you'd think that they would give you a lot more granular information with all the shit that they do on Spotify, but they don't really give you that much. It's kind of a painful thing to dig through, but it's what it is.
Well, they don't want you knowing how many you got, because then they have to pay you more. So.
Right.
They're like, hey man, what about these 10,000 hits I got? Oh, we didn't see that.
Here's $1.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks again, Vinny. I know it's late on your end, so we appreciate you staying up late with us. So
appreciate you guys, and sorry to all the people who may watch this. I'm a little drowsy, but I do.
No, man, you're fine. You're good.
You're good, man. Like I said, I'll get this downloaded and uploaded to Spotify this weekend as well. So that'll give it a little more traffic, hopefully.
Cool, man. And, it's always a pleasure being out here. I look forward to it. I'm hopeful, get the new stuff out, man. Get it to you guys, and I'll be back for sure. I always enjoy having talk, man.
Oh man, it's like, and that's one thing I like about this is like you and John O'Connor from one of the last, who was the very first guest of the show. You guys, like, and not saying anything about almost everybody on this show that we've interviewed have become like a family to us, because it's become because I do have a habit of checking in with people if I hadn't seen or heard anything from a while. I'm just like, hey man, you guys okay? What y'all doing? Like,
how's your mom and them?
Yeah. How's your mom? But it's just like, I'm kind of curious. If I don't hear them, I'm just like, okay, hopefully there's good things. If I'm not hearing them, maybe they're on tour or
right.
Like that,
Yeah.
But most of the time we know, like, I don't bother people when I see them, like, oh, I'm doing this European tour and shit. I'm like, oh, that's cool as fuck. And I'm just like, well, I won't bother you and ask what you're doing, because I already know. So, but yeah, when people go silent a little bit, it kind of scares me. I'm like, oh, why that silent for?
Yeah, I appreciate. I think that's like how we kind of reconnected. Is like on my page, because I went through a phase. I had a horrible situation where I had my personal life mixed in with my music life. And then label people were coming in on my personal like Facebook page, and I was like, I've got to separate these things. So I started to like prune everyone off. So if anyone is trying to find me personally out there, it's a music specific Vinny Carrion music, because that's do all that stuff. Now I do have a personal Facebook, but I try to prune it down. And man, there's so many connections. I'm still deleting people.
but it's just
Yeah.
I just want family because I got to this weird realization that like I'm sharing personal things like my kids and all on here. And
Yeah, you don't want people, strangers, seeing that shit.
well, I mean, most of the connections I had are musical, and I'm like, they don't know or care about my family, and I don't want them to.
That too. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so it's like it just got a little weird for me, and I was like, all right, I need to separate this thing out. Plus, honestly, Facebook, I honestly don't love it. I'm on it.
Well, us either.
Yeah. But I do appreciate it, man, because that's how you talk to me, man. I think you made a comment on that page to reconnect. So I'm glad you did that. So it is good to have that stuff just so I can stay current with people. But I appreciate you like even, making the comment you did and us reconnecting. And I'm, hopeful that we can continue to just stay in touch. So
Hell yeah, man.
Yep, we absolutely will.
And like I said, once we get that new single dropped, I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit about that on the side too. So
yeah, no doubt about it in my mind.
And then of course, when the album comes out, we'll try to do this again too to try to push that a little bit more. So it may not be 3 hours, but then again, you never know. So
hey, we just seem to talk a lot. I think. I mean, every time I'm on, it's like I don't even look at the time. It's just like I know we're talking.
Right.
I'm not having a bad time, so I'm not going to be like, all right, let's go.
Right. And like a lot of times I'm looking and like, especially with these that it just flows so well, and I'm just like, damn, it's been 3 hours. Like,
it definitely doesn't seem like it.
No, it doesn't. Like, yeah. And then I'm like, then I feel bad because he's over there like about to fall out, and it's like 2 a.m. over there, and it's like,
don't worry,
I was like,
I got too much work to do, man. I honestly don't sleep as much as I should because I can't. So
yeah,
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
There you go. Unfortunately, that's the facts of life. Unfortunately, for all of us that are working people, I guess.
Yeah, does seem like it.
Anyway, thanks again, Vinny. Like anything else comes up, man, we'd be glad to share that over on our socials as well, man. Like,
cool.
We actually love everything you guys do. So
mm-hmm.
I don't foresee that. I don't foresee that changing, but we'll see.
No.
One giant turd just for you now.
Right. This is dedicated to Jason from the Metalheads Unite podcast. There you go.
Thank you guys.
We appreciate give our love and support to Ryan too, man. Like, I know he ain't never on here, but we'll have to change that maybe next time. Like, no, dude, you got to come on the show.
He'll just sit here and nod and laugh.
That'd be fine.
Well, yeah, okay. Just tell him we said you can't do it again until he comes with you. So
all right, I'm gonna get him, man. He's a monster bass player, dude. Monster.
Yeah. Well, maybe he can give me some pointers. I actually just bought one a while back and was trying to pick it up again. So
nice.
So not to really do anything. I just like to tinker with it a little bit. Yeah, I don't plan on joining a band or nothing, but you never know. So.
That's true. Never say never.
Yeah.
I'll let Ryan know his days are numbered now.
There it is.
Yeah, I've done everything else. I might as well join a rock band, I guess. So. I've been a pro wrestler and actor. Might as well be a rock band.
You only live once.
Right. Enjoy it while you're here. So. But again, thanks, Vinny, man, and hope you guys nothing but the best. Hopefully, everything starts cranking out, man. So.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're gonna have our eyes out on your guys' socials and Affiant's page over there on Instagram also. Yep. So I mean, we're definitely gonna be following along every step of the way.
Yeah, I want to check out some more of those bands on the label too.
So. Yeah, we'll do that too. Yeah,
they've got some good stuff going on over there. I think Audience of Rain would be one of the heavy bands, but they got a really good, like pop punk band. I would say really good. Honey Talks is their name. They're just they're just fucking fun and really good. They just put out a new single and they're doing really well. I think they're up to like 30K.
No, good for them.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm happy for their success, man. It's nice to be on a label, and honestly, all the bands on it, I listen to. I'm like, wow, man, it's cool to be on a label with other bands that you respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're all very good. They really are, and that's not the case with some of these independent labels. It's the quality's been really paid attention to. So.
That's good. That's awesome.
Check out some.
Well, too bad, and like too bad you already found a drummer. We was gonna try to hook you up with Jay Weinberg, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's got to be something going on there with that guy. I mean, he's been kicked out of a few bands now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because he had been with them for a while, so it's kind of crazy.
9
Just
years.
all of a sudden, and then he had a surgery like right after he was kicked out. So I'm kind of like, maybe that had something to do with it. Yeah, who knows? But
It's weird.
anyway, go catch Ashes Rain on all their socials, Spotify, Bandcamp, all that good stuff. Follow those guys over on Twitch. Give them their monies. Give them some monies.
Hell yeah.
Give us some monies. We'll take monies too.
A little bit,
like I
sure.
said, so we appreciate it, Vinny, man, and look forward to doing this again. So
For sure, guys.
Hell yeah, bud.
all right, brother. You have a good one, man.
You guys too. Appreciate it.
Yep. See ya.
Later.
Vinny Carrion, ladies and gentlemen.
Ashes Rain.
Ashes Rain.
Frontman, guitarist, and everything in between. So,
Pretty much everything in between. Yeah.
So we appreciate Vinny, man. He's a good guy. So.
Yep.
Always fun talking to him. Anyway, so now that we wrap that one up, we are having another guest next week. So, so we're going to knock another one out next week. So it's going to be a band Barrel. We're not very familiar with them either, so it's going to be a get familiar
definitely
podcast from both sides, I guess. So,
yep, definitely going to be a get to know you kind of thing. You know, that Jason alluded to a band earlier in the show that kind of reached out to us and sent us some music, and that's the band. They're called Barrel, and they are from Finland. So another band from the Scandinavian part of the world. So, you know, they keep cranking out good music. So we'll get together with we'll get together with them and see what we can see. So it'll be interesting.
Yep. So we will look forward to that, and we will start promoting that on our socials. So look out for that next week.
Yep.
And I guess with that, we will just wrap this bad boy up. And we will. Look for album reviews because I did listen to one.
I did too.
I did listen to an EP today, so I will put that on there on the page, and then
I will too.
And there's another one I want to listen to, so if I get around to that, which I probably will because I got a trip to make tomorrow. That's probably about an hour, so I'm sure I'll get that out of there. So, but yeah, look for that on there. And like I said, follow us on all of our stuff. And I'll put that back up here in just a second. There's the Truly Radio 247.com/8006/stream, and then of course our merch store Metalheads Unites USA.com.
Yep. Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com is the email address. We are back on X, and then we're on, you know, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, which we may have to do a little more stuff on Twitch. I know we're
I'll look at that.
I know we're live streaming right now on Twitch, but maybe we need to kind of like shift focus a little bit.
See what we can do there. So
yeah. So and then the Facebook group and the Facebook page. The Facebook page, anyone can come check out and follow. The Facebook group is members only. So you don't get a cool jacket, but I mean, you know.
Yeah. Not yet. If you want a cool shirt, you can. But if you want a cool shirt, you can order one of those. Yes,
you can. One of those. Well, not one of those. That's actually the 2022 tour shirt. So I mean,
there's
do we still have some left?
There's still 18 of those around here somewhere.
Okay, so I mean, we do still have some 2022s left. Okay.
Well, as soon as I get my stuff for printing, I will have them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So if you want to order one, just hit us up on the side, and we'll try to get that out to you within a couple of weeks. So
yeah, we will.
It's definitely a time for Christmas. So. All right, guys, that will wrap this one up. Until next week, keep those horns held high. Jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great week, everybody. See you next Friday.